What's up, guys, and welcome to the podcast. I am your host, Hebrew Hammer, and I'm joined, of course, by my two lovely co-hosts. As always, we have Chewburger84.
G'day, mate.
And then we also have the sexiest man in cowboy boots that you've ever seen. It's Dorian Blade.
You know it, brother.
Now, we have a great show for you guys today. But first, before we go any further, Dorian, I'm going to ask you a question real quick.
Yeah, what's up?
Whenever you go to the kitchen at night, you're hungry, right? You grab yourself a bowl. You pour yourself some Strike Force damage control. And you splash in a little bit of Power Core podcast.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
And then you put in a little bit of sugar, a little bit of salt.
Don't forget the peanut butter.
No, yeah, peanut butter too, of course.
All right.
And then you add in a dash of Chewburger. And what does that make? What do you get?
Boy, that's some tasty goodness right there. But I'm gonna have to say that, my friend, is the Ravager Report.
That is right. We are now officially the Ravager Report podcast. We did the survey that we mentioned last week on the podcast. We had a phenomenal amount of responses to it, so we were all really happy to see that interaction from you guys, and we all really appreciate it. And this was a clear front runner that we had, so we were happy that it ended up being this one because this was actually one of our favorites as well. So yeah, we are now officially the Ravager Report podcast. That being said, this week we will still end up being shown as the Power Core podcast, just because we can't switch over everything in time without it creating a disconnect on iTunes. So just know that next week, whenever it's time for you to see the podcast for the next episode, it will be under the Ravager Report. So prepare to look for it under that name from now on. And just a reminder, we also do have the Discord merged and changed. And that discord.me, we already changed that, correct?
Yes.
All right. What is the tag for that?
That's discord.me/Ravager Report.
All right. Perfect. So you guys heard it right there. And then we are going to have our Twitter set up within the next day or two. We're not sure what the handle is yet. You didn't already change over the handle yet, did you?
No, I have not.
All right. So yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. So just if you're already on the Twitter SFDC, we're going to switch it over from that Twitter. So you're already going to be there. But for those of you that aren't yet, either join in under that or just look for Ravager Report on Twitter. And I promise you it'll come up one way or the other. So that being said, let's go ahead and check in to see how you guys are doing this week. So Chewburger, let's start with you. What did you get up to this week?
Man, it's been an intense week for me. Had a lot of work meetings, unfortunately. Nothing too exciting. So I had a lot of long days. So this week was going to be me getting back into a bit of the health and fitness side of things for a different project. So I had to really zero in the diet because I was working insane hours. So yeah, real life kind of got the better of me this week. And then other than that, it's just been playing a ton of Strike Force, which I'm sure we'll talk about shortly.
I hear that, my friend. And yeah, I can sympathize. Life can be a pain in the ass sometimes. But let's go ahead and check in with Dorian now. What about you, buddy?
Wow, I've had kind of a big week. So my wife's car blew up.
What?
Not really. Wait.
You can't just go past that. By the way, my wife's car blew up, and I had cereal this morning.
No. So for the longest time, there's been a problem with my wife's car where the windshield wipers would just like intermittently fire off, even though they were turned off.
Right.
And then the passenger door, the front passenger door, always showed as being ajar. So like the lights wouldn't go off, the thing wouldn't go down. So I was going to do the work myself, but I could never find time. So I wound up taking it to my mechanic, which I love my mechanic. If you're in the Nashville area, let me know. I will hook you guys up. These people are awesome. It was going to be like $700 and it came in at like $250. So that was
Where was
awesome.
the explosion part?
Well, wait for it. So we go pick up the car today, and we are driving home, and the master cylinder gives out on the car while my wife's driving it, and she almost runs a stop sign. So I had to drive it back 20 miles to the mechanic with a blown master cylinder. So I don't know if you guys have ever driven a car with a blown master cylinder, but it's very fluffy brakes. In fact, you basically are pushing them all the way to the floor just to get it to stop. So thankfully, they were able to get the part and get that fixed while I was there waiting. So that wasn't.
So they fixed it all while you were waiting for them?
They fixed the max. They got a new master cylinder from Ford, and was able to replace the master cylinder just while I was waiting.
Wow, I guess that.
Yeah, they had already done all the other work. So.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know shit about cars, so but that sounds impressive that it went from master cylinder blown up to I was in the waiting room for an hour or so, and then he got it back to me.
Well, that's classic mechanics, Hebrew. That's basically, they took it in with one problem. He screwed with something else. He thought it would take about sort of 4 to 6 weeks before they get the problem and then have to come back. He just overtuned his hacks.
No, these guys are great. When I had my Focus, and I'll share the story of what happened to the Focus. That one was an explosion. Like the computer went out on my car, like it wouldn't shift. Like I dropped the transmission pan, I pulled the solenoids, I tested all that, I ordered new solenoids, put it, transmission wasn't working right. Turns out the computer was bad. My car was like 1,000 miles away from, there's a federal warranty on computers for cars. It's like 80,000 miles or something. So they got me like a brand new computer and all the labor was covered and everything. So I go back to these guys all the time.
That's great.
Yeah. I basically work from home all week. So, which it's nice. I have a job that I can telecommute. So that's always enjoyable. In game though, it's been a defenders week. So just working on getting my defenders geared up. I've been throwing a little bit at my arena team. They've actually surprisingly been holding really well at like 111k power. So that's been kind of amazing. Running Star-Lord, Rocket, Thanos, Kingpin, and Crossbones on defense, and they're holding, or maybe not Kingpin, maybe I'm throwing Vision in there. I'd have to double check. But they're holding really well. So, and then I got Thanos to 6 stars. So, yay me! And he's the most powerful character on my roster, as well he should be, just to balance everything out. And so he's sitting around 30k.
So you T12'd him, I'm guessing?
T11.
Yeah, right. That's pretty good. How far off T12? Are you going to take him that far?
Probably not. I don't really see the need to invest in T12 right now. It's so expensive. I've got 2 pieces into T11 on him. I don't know if the return on investment going from 11 to 12 is worth it with the amount of materials that are there. I could probably get most of my other arena team up to tier 11 because they're all running like tier 9, tier 10 right now.
Yeah, that sounds great. Sorry, I zoned out for a second. I was actually on the game as well this time. It was my turn.
Somebody's playing Venom.
Somebody's playing their game.
Sorry.
That's the professional kind of thing you're going to hear here on the Ravager Report.
I'm going to edit that out. It's like it'll never happen.
Cheeky.
But anyways, that's great. I promise you I was paying attention to all of it. I just didn't catch whenever it was my turn. So, but that does sound fantastic. And as something to add to the car blowing up situation here. So, as at least some of you guys have heard from some of our previous discussions, my life, as far as weird, terrible things that have happened, I got a lot of things. And one of the weirder things that's happened to me was in my second to last apartment complex. There was this couple that lived above me who was just terribly dysfunctional. And I always heard them fight all the time. Their bedroom was above my bedroom. I heard a lot of stuff in that. But
like what, Hebrew?
No.
A lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that happened in that room, and I heard pretty much all of it. So I had a pretty interesting time. So their car was parked right next to me because it was basically in order. We have assigned parking spots. Their car was parked right next to mine. They broke up, and the girl moved out. And for a week, I hadn't heard anything. I just knew the guy was still up there. Sorry. But yeah, so I don't know what had happened with her, but I just knew that she was gone. Then I came outside one day after I heard a ridiculously loud sound, and the guy who lives upstairs to me, his car was blown up. It was torched and then it blew up. It was in the middle of the night. and I was parked right next to him, and it also blew my car up. Well, my car didn't catch on fire or anything, but like the impact from it ended up pushing my car to the side, and the side of my car was totally screwed up. So my car almost blew up, but the car right next to me really did get blown up, and that shit was crazy. So yeah, that was a real car blow up story right there.
Nice.
That is a real car blow up story.
But anyways, so outside of that, what I've been doing this week, nothing special outside of the game, just kind of same old. But inside of the game, I also leveled up my Thanos to 6 stars, which I'm really excited about because I did not think that was going to happen.
Nice.
But I had a lucky orange drop,
Nice.
so that worked out well for me. And I guess, man, it really wasn't that interesting inside the game either. I did get Venom. Oh yeah, for the first time since Nightly Gate, I bought a pack and got Venom, and that was pretty good. Spent $25 for my first time back. Ended up getting, I think it was 26 shards deep into 3 stars. So that worked out pretty well. I think I actually beat Chewburger on that, didn't I?
Yeah, I think I was about 10 short of you. I bought one of the packs as well.
That's all that matters. And yeah, that is probably pretty much it. So outside of those 2 things, yeah, pretty average. I guess my week was not as exciting as I thought.
Nice.
Yeah, I actually ended up stopping my hoarding after all, guys. So I kept on going with the gold, which I'd be very happy to rub in Hebrew's face. That big backlog of orbs we all got from the raids, from the update at 2.0. Yeah. I ended up pulling a mill in there, so that's pretty great. But yeah, I've taken Trooper and Assault on the Shield team up to T12, and Fury's 2 pieces away. So that hoarding has nearly got me halfway through that team.
Now, are you actually seeing any difference at T12 than T11?
More survivability in the raids, I am, yep. And people are touching me way less in Arena.
It really makes that much of a difference.
It's more I'm taking the gamble that we know T13 is coming. It doesn't look on paper like it's a big bump, but I mean, I took my primary squad up a while ago, and I've been crushing that raid harder than anyone else in our alliance until Fat Honey Badger joined this week. Now I actually have a worthy adversary, which is great. But yeah, I think that I'm just going to try and get them so they're ready for T13 in case that is a difference maker at level 70.
Yeah, that's. I think I'm going to do that as well. I really need to get some people up to, or more people up to T12. The only person I have at T12 right now is Captain, and Gamora got up there somehow a long time ago. So yeah, I need to bring up some more because I need to do more in the Ultimates raid. I'm getting killed probably after 5 nodes or so.
Mm-hmm.
So and you go for how many on average?
What's that, sorry?
How many nodes do you do on average for Ult 6?
Depends on the day. Between 7 and 10. I
Holy
won't
crap.
lie. Once I get into first or second spot with Badger, basically I just tend to phone it in after that point because most of our alliance is doing the same earlier.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I'm jealous that you have Badger on your team as well.
Yeah, that's definitely very, very nice pairing right there.
The Fury you guys clear out over. Yeah, that's right. I forgot he has Fury too. Jeez, I'm jealous.
He's ready for 6 stars.
All right,
believe it or not. That's mental.
Wow.
Oh wow. Wow. Jeez. I guess I'm not sure if he's dolphin territory or whale territory there. We'll have to see.
Or he just like some other people I know went Kree early because he liked them.
Really?
Yeah. So do you guys know who McMole2 is?
Oh yeah.
Friend of the podcast. He's a good guy. He went Kree early, so he got Fury unlocked at like the 6, maybe. I can't remember. Wow. I gotta ask him if he got him 7. But yeah, no, he invested in Kree early on. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
I'm actually really surprised. I didn't know anyone even like really liked Kree that much.
Well, remember, beta players had a different experience because Ronan was better, therefore the Kree were better.
Sure, yeah.
So it was more advantageous before they took the nerf. It was more the nerf bat. They took the nerf sledgehammer to that guy.
Wasn't Royal Guard OP in beta? I mean, I wasn't in there, but I heard stories.
Royal Guard was really good from what I heard. I don't know if I ever got him. I mean, he's actually not horrible now. I mean, he's no Merc Riot Guard. for a minion
He's
for a
really
minion
horrible
tank.
now.
Really? Doesn't he still
Oh, he's
block and
terrible.
everything else?
No, he's terrible.
Oh,
Does nothing. Yeah, he's one of the weakest ones in that squad for sure.
Is
In my
he?
mind, it's all about Cyborg and Reaper. Everyone else needs a really, really good overhaul.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
that should be
I think-
incoming.
Yeah, that's what they
TBD
say.
is one of the questions I asked the devs this week.
Oh yeah, he didn't answer back.
Oh, that's right.
Oh
I
no,
forgot
he
to tell
actually
you guys
said
about
TBD. He said
that
they do not
today.
have
Oh,
an
okay.
intended date for that right now.
Wow, that's weird because they were actually like kicking it around quite often before, as far as
Yeah.
mentioning it.
So,
I'm
I
surprised
don't
they
know
put
Well,
it
what
out.
that means.
I guarantee it won't be before the next Fury event.
Yeah.
Well, they said that they would do it before the next Fury event, but yeah, it doesn't sound like they are, considering all the big updates that are coming out.
Yeah.
But then again, they did do the Defenders, and that was a big update or a big overhaul, and we had a lot of stuff coming out whenever that happened.
Yeah, and
So.
by the way, those guys are really, really, really good in the raids. Really
Yes,
good.
they're fantastic. They really are, and they're easier. They're one of the easier groups to farm. So
Yes.
I would definitely recommend for newer players, you guys should probably try
Oh,
to
yeah.
go for them because
You need to
they're
get the
just
Defenders.
Good, yeah. And I like Punisher, but I hear a lot of good stuff about putting Miss Marvel with it too for your 5th. But Punisher,
I'll have to try that. I never geared her up. And
Mhm.
Punisher, I never really geared up too much. I think I got him to tier 9 this week. But with his assist, it's just crazy.
His entire passive is insanely good. Like,
Yes, absolutely.
you're basically, if you're in the real right circumstance, you're rocking pretty much offense up the entire game, is what it feels like.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty crazy. Definitely really good. But Miss Marvel is apparently, I haven't tested that one out for myself, but Miss Marvel is apparently a very good pair with them too.
Yeah, see, my Miss Marvel's only at like 8k power.
Yeah, mine's kind of
Level 50, 3-star, T7.
Pretty sure mine wins, guys. Mine's at 105.
Really? I thought that you
Right
liked her.
down the bottom. I really do. But I've just had so many priority farms that
Oh
her,
well, you've been
Rocket
doing
and
Fury.
Star-Lord are all sitting together down at about 100.
Yeah, I haven't updated Star-Lord at all either. He's just been sitting there.
You guys are doing yourselves a huge disservice.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, but that Fury though.
Well, yeah, fair enough. I avoid Fury teams like the plague, but I'm just saying that Star-Lord Rocket Thanos combo in Arena.
yeah, it's
I don't care about Crossbones because I just melt him. He just melts.
Yeah, look, I may end up doing it this week, to be honest, because I may end up dropping that 5 mil to get up Star-Lord and Rocket, because if I'm going to be the cosmic lane guy in this new raid, which we'll talk about soon, that's going to be an issue for me. I think I need that extra heavy hitters. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes.
So, hey, Chewy, can I ask you an honest question?
It's about 8.
That's a lie, but that's fine. How many more times this episode alone are you going to mention the 5 million gold?
The 5 million gold?
Yeah.
I don't know.
right.
Let's see how we
sprinkle
go.
it in.
Just sprinkle it in. All
times.
right.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if you're gonna keep holding that over our heads, because I'm like doing one
Well,
level.
only 1 million of it's
one-
lucky. The rest of it, as I said, I've been hoarding it for a little while, so that's not exactly
2
a
million
luck
of
thing,
it's
except
lucky.
for the 1
2
mil.
million of it is lucky.
Yeah.
You
2
got
million
2
of it's
mils,
lucky, yeah.
right?
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm doing like one level, like Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Iron Fist, and Punisher are all like sitting at level 62, and I can only do like one of them, maybe 2 of them a day.
Yeah, I'm just really upset that I have not gotten 1 million drop ever yet.
Oh, you haven't?
No,
Oh,
I have not.
that's
I mean,
sad.
it's an ongoing joke with a lot of listeners. Like, they know I have never got a 1 mil drop, and everyone always gets them. I never have. I'm really annoyed with that. But
Yeah, but you got a lot of Iron Fist.
I got a lot of. I had a lot of Iron Fist. I had a lot of Punisher. I was lucky on some premium and mega pulls as well, though. I got Nobu up to 4 stars, I think, and I got Black Widow, and I only purchased one. I don't remember if it was 25 or 45, but one Black Widow package I purchased, but the rest was all Mega Orb drops. So I've gotten really lucky with Mega Orbs.
I hate you a little bit. I still have not unlocked Nobu.
Oh man, he's good.
Oh, wow.
He's sitting at 81 of 100.
Yeah, he's good. I mean, he's definitely not as good as he was now that we've had a lot of really good people come in. But yeah, I mean, he's still not to be underrated. He's really good.
Well,
and in a hand
To
team,
put in
is pretty
perspective,
nice.
our conversation we just had about gold, now that we can see the drop rates, I don't know if you've looked at it, it's a 1% chance for the 1 mil.
Yeah.
Yep. Which we'll get to it, but yeah, I'm really glad that they did that, by the way. But Chewy, I know that because this is probably the best time to do it. I know you mentioned earlier that you wanted to talk about bug.
Yeah, I did. Look, I don't think it's officially a bug. It's an interaction that I don't understand why it's a thing. And for
Mhm.
raids, it makes Fury's kit far less effective than it should be. So for those of you that haven't got Fury and don't know much about the way that team works, Shield Operative in that team is awesomely effective because what she does is she shoots on her basic. She has really high focus. She strips a buff off the character that she is shooting. It reduces their TM by 25% when she crits, which is very frequently, and then gives that buff that she stole to Fury with whatever duration it had. So if you had a 2-turn defense up from a cage, for example, you're going to give that to your Fury. And that works sensationally well. However, Operative is the only character in the game when they do a buff steal that gives, when they do a buff steal that also steals Taunt. So what happens is you give that taunt to Fury. Now, a lot of people have tried to defend this week saying it doesn't matter. Fury always goes just after Operative, so it shakes off really quickly. And for the first turn, that is true. But when you have speed ups and when you have slows in play, which is very frequently, you're going to find that very regularly, if you've been up against a taunting team, that Nick Fury is going to be the one with taunt up more frequently than shield security, which makes no sense to me. So it's been quite frequent for me that I'll lose Fury first when I go up against Thanos because he's the exposed character, not the shield security. And if you want to hear a really, really weird interaction, if you go up against a Thanos or if you go up against a Luke Cage and you steal their 2-turn taunt, it is up for long enough on Fury that you can actually spread that taunt to every character on the map. So you can actually make all of your characters taunt simultaneously. So it's a thing that I don't understand why it's there. It doesn't make sense. And it seems like it's just there to try and, I guess, take some of the OP away from Fury. I don't understand why it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I see it as maybe a necessary evil, but I can understand why it sucks for sure, because that'll put a bullet right to your comp in the right situation, at least. So, yeah, that kind of sucks. But you think it is working as intended? It's just...
Well, most people I've spoken to sort of say, look, if you read the kit, that's exactly the way it's described. And that is true. Like, I mean, but just because something works like that doesn't mean it makes sense. You know, I mean, why do we have Gamora working one way with hers, and then we have Black Panther working a different way with his passive, for example? Like when they get kills, one stores, one doesn't. It's these gaps in the way that different people's talents work, even though the descriptions are almost identical. That makes no sense to me. You know, why is it that you don't have Yondu stealing a taunt, for example? Why is it that you don't have Iron Man? No, I always do that. It's Ant-Man and Wasp. Why don't they steal taunts and give it to each other? You know, I just don't understand why Fury is the exception for this rule that they chose to make. So I have reached out and basically I said, look, I just want to clarify, is this a bug? If it is working intended thematically, why does that make sense? And they came back with a couple of clarifying questions, asked for screenshots. I sent it to them, and I have not heard back for them for about 4 days now. Yeah, so that ticket's still open. So,
well, if they asked about that information, I feel like they should, or they didn't really know about that. I mean,
well, you talk to customer service when you go through the application.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So all they'll be doing is taking that to the devs. I haven't gone directly to them because I don't think they would be the ones, but it's certainly something I intend on reaching out to them, because for me, it's frustrating to see such a glaring weakness that if you come up against anything like, so Korath is the big one, that it basically means he is going to hit Fury with it. right off the bat. So yeah, I'm not thrilled with it.
Just to give you a heads up, I sent in screenshots and information regarding the what I believe to be a bug with Deadpool and Cable, where if Deadpool gets the kill, they don't get the 70% speed bar. It's only if the kill happens during Cable,
right?
But the ability doesn't read that way. It just says on kill. So I have yet to hear anything back, and it's probably been a month and a half.
Oh, well, but yeah, I was just surprised that you guys didn't go through our contact instead of.
I'm trying not to abuse that too much for reason.
Right. I just feel like if anything, that makes sense to actually send that to them, just like an expedited process. But
Well, this may have been
regardless,
before I had that contact too. I can't
oh,
remember.
okay, gotcha. Well, I guess that's more directed at Chewie then. Anyways, all right. So let's go ahead and I skipped this segment accidentally, but Dorian, why don't you go ahead and do the Patreon announcement for us?
Yeah. So this week we did get a new patron. Thank you, BMZR. We appreciate your patronage. He joins our our growing list of patrons. If you are interested in becoming a patron and would like to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/Ravager Report. I do not have new headers and icons and pictures up yet for Ravager Report, but that link should now be live and working. We have subscriptions starting at $1, going all the way up to $20, and they provide a bunch of various benefits. And I do not have those on the site yet. I apologize, and I don't have the sheet in front of me. But basically, the $1 is just hey, I love the show. Here's $1, and it gets you, just kind of a shout out on the podcast. And then starting at $2, I believe is when you get the Discord access. And then we've got 5, 10, and 20. Guys, do we have a 15?
Yes, we do have a 15, but it's hard to say right now. We have revamped forms of a lot of them. So by the time this episode airs, we'll have all of that stuff on the Patreon. So you guys don't have to worry about that. Just make sure you guys take a look because there's going to be a lot of new stuff on there. And we hope that it's going to be stuff that you guys like. We think that it's well suited.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, that's patreon.com/Ravager Report.
And at higher tiers, guys, Dorian will give you a personalized tour of his local mechanic. So it's definitely worth signing up.
Boy.
That's an offer you can't pass up on right there.
Right?
All right. Actually, you know what? I would rather be like introduced to the cowboy boots. He walks out with his cowboy boots on or something like that.
Are you guys going to make a big deal out of the cowboy boots?
I am going to make.
Oh, we did it, but there was a lot of people out there in the community that did this week, my friend.
Yeah. Did you not see any of those?
I went on Casino Stream twice last week, and he mentioned the podcast, and there's people like, wait, is that the guy that wears the cowboy boots?
Yeah.
No, I have not. I have not seen any of this yet.
That picture, or everyone's posting up the meme of what's his face from what is it? Reno 911.
Oh, yes.
I've seen that one.
Okay,
I've seen that
I've
one.
been doing his special move with the stomp. that was perfect. That actually made me laugh out loud whenever I saw it the first time.
That's awesome. So what you're saying is now I've got to send you guys another pic with tidy shorts and the cowboy boots.
Oh, please.
Just with the caption. Just with the caption. There's a snake in my boots.
Pretty much everything that's closely associated with cowboys or cowboy boots specifically, like we got to do. I don't know if any of you guys know Him, but How I Met Your Mother, but there's a big long running gag on there that I feel like
the red cowboy boots
easily play on this. Yeah, pulling it off.
Yeah, that's it. For now on,
you are killing me.
I love it. That's the best.
Man,
right.
And they're just comfortable utility work cowboy boots, man. But I'll tell you what, they do make me look great. My wife says so.
Yeah. Have you ever left on just the cowboy boots? That's what I'm asking.
So moving on.
All right. This is a story for a different time, I suppose. All right. So next we actually have a somewhat new segment that we're going to be implementing. It's going to be, kind of off and on whenever we're able to make it happen. But we do have Panub with us, and he is actually going to hop in, and he's going to tell us about the data mine because you guys all know he's the data mine master. And so he definitely deserves to be the one to tell you guys about it. We had a huge data mine this week. A lot of it, luckily, has already come to fruition, so we don't have to go over about half of it. But there's still a lot still left. So let's go ahead and bring him in. So
you said Panub, you told him to unmute himself, and he can't.
I didn't tell him to unmute himself, did I? Maybe I did. I don't know.
No, Chewie told him to unmute himself.
Okay. You know what I just realized? I just realized about 5-6 minutes ago, it's 85 degrees in my apartment, and I'm burning up. I don't know what my Nest is doing right now, but it's freaking out, and it put up to 85 degrees. So I I realized I was sweating bullets and hallucinating slightly. So
Good times. I'm just thinking, man, it's hot in these cowboy boots.
That's exactly what was going on. All right, so yeah, let's go ahead and Panub, are you with us? I feel like a news station. All right, so let's go ahead and kick it off with the level 7 specials and ultimate costs.
All right. First thing I want to do, though, is I want to give a shout out to the other data miners in the community. I've recently kind of stepped down from it, but I gathered them all together so they could keep giving info out to everybody. So I just want to run them down real quick. And that's Blind World, Chronolink, Dancing Dirk, Dutch Rudders, Magic Wand, Maeve the Great, Meditator, Ty J, and Prince. They're all working really hard behind the scenes to make sure that this info keeps getting out there. So they do
That's
a great
amazing.
job.
Do you guys
Let's take a second to say, great work there, boys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coming along.
Do you guys have like a club or anything that you guys get together at? Like a special Discord for only data miners?
No, we just have a hidden channel on the MPO server where we discuss all this. And so all the data mine kind of comes out of there and then funnels out to everybody else at this point.
Oh gosh, that's pretty cool. I'm not sure how. Go ahead.
Quick tangent there. Dorian, have you ever heard of what a Dutch rudder is? Like that guy's name?
Wait, what?
Oh no.
It's all right. Just worth Googling later. Back to you, Hebrew.
Nope. Not going to happen. Yeah, not going to happen.
Just don't have any family members around whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm not. Anything Chewburger tells me to do, I'm just going to go, yeah, okay, buddy, whatever.
Hey,
sure
also
thing.
a fun fact. Did you know that when waffles leave a factory, they're actually painted blue? Don't Google that either. Promise you don't want to Google that fact.
You definitely don't want to Google that one.
All right, guys, come on now.
Yep. All right, back to. All right, Panub. Sorry, let's go ahead and go back to it. All right.
So the first thing is kind of the salty piece of the data mine. That is that the level 7 specials will now require 220 T4 ability materials and 150,000 gold instead of 185 T4 ability materials and 120,000 gold. In addition to that, the level 7 ultimates now require 240 T4 abilities and 225,000 gold instead of 190 T4 abilities and 150,000 gold.
Now, this for me was a tough pill to swallow. I understand that it's supposed to be like more powerful, and that's why they increased it, or at least I assume that's why. But just the fact that it's so inconsistent with the entire leveling process that we've had so far, it really upsets me, especially since we already are lacking in these materials, both of them. So, first of all, Chewy, Dorian.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go for it.
It frustrates me because most of these abilities are crap.
Yeah.
They're not worth the investment.
Yeah.
You know, that's what kills me. You're going to make them harder, but oh great, you're going to pay all this for 5% damage or 5% speed. Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous. I hope this is something that they're trolling to kind of, because they know we do. They know we see the data mines. They know we do.
Yeah.
And so hopefully this is their focus group testing to see what we rage about.
God, I hope
maybe
so.
We'll get lucky. I don't know. But yeah, no, the fact that they up that and these abilities are just horrible. There's maybe 5 total abilities in the entire game that are worth it.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous.
Is that including, have you looked at, because I genuinely have not, have you looked at the special and ultimate abilities? Or are you just taking a guess based off of what we've seen so far?
I'm taking a guess off of what we've seen so far. Okay. I saw some of the ones that like I think Casino had listed or shown. Mm-hmm. But even then, I mean, it was like maybe 30% extra damage or, something. And it just, it was really kind of lackluster because I feel like these should be, if you're familiar with Galaxy of the Heroes, these feel like they should be Zeta abilities and you should get something for them for that investment because we're really only getting them every 2 weeks.
Right.
And,
that makes sense.
And it'll take you a month to get one ability. And that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Panub, what do you actually think about this one yourself?
I'm not happy with it. Both from the ability material and the gold aspect, I agree that these should be along the lines of the Zeta abilities. And honestly, all of the stuff that requires the T4 ability materials in the game, I don't feel like any of them compare to the Zeta abilities in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. None of them are game changing.
Right.
So the fact that they cost so much and then it takes forever to farm the materials for it, it's not, the juice isn't worth the squeeze on them.
Right. No, I would have to agree with that one too. Man, this little segment is not working out well for Fox next on them. But Chewburger, what about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm torn at this stage. I would say that the counter argument would be right now, while that's so expensive, you want to be glad that that a lot of these are terrible, because if they were very easy to access and they were awesome, for the guys that were above us, we would be getting destroyed right now, like those top 1 to 10 guilds. But I'm going to hold my judgment whether or not I'm going to rage out or not until A, we see it live in game. But letter B, is that we don't know if there's going to be methods coming soon where we actually get more T4s. So I'm not as mad about them making that higher up. If the frequency that we're going to be getting access to T4s goes up, I can live with that. If they leave it as it is, I'll be the same as you guys and really pissed off. Yeah. But
Right.
well, I guess we'll have to wait and see with these new game modes, because it sounds like some of these raids, they can kind of chop and change some of the reward orbs that come in later. And the introduction of the ability orbs with the City Heroes event for Block Party makes me think that maybe they're testing, okay, how many people look like they invested in that? Is that something the community wants? Maybe we need to put more T4s dropping in there. Let's see what we can do to roll that out. The fact that some of those may be coming into the store, the supply store from time to time, if we're getting it more frequently, then yeah, maybe that'll increase some of it. But look, there are some ultimates, just like some of the passives, that can be really good. Sure, some of them are only damage increases, but when you have a crossbones going off, depending on which piece of data you look at, somewhere between 40 to a 70% more damage than what he does now on a detonate, some of those are going to be big difference makers for sure. Yeah, so I'm going to wait and see on that one.
Now, all right, so given that, this is open to anyone that has a response to it. Do you guys think that the reason why these aren't these really big Zeta-like abilities, because those abilities are going to come with T5?
I hope not, and I'm going to say that because I don't want to see them continuing to add abilities to the characters. I feel that characters, when they come out, I don't have a problem with like rebalances or reworks.
Right.
What I have a problem with is, oh, hey, here's an update. And suddenly everybody has a brand new ability that you can't get for another 2 months. Characters, when they come out, should have all their ability levels. I don't remember Star Wars. I mean, yes, they add the Zeta ability level, but they didn't add it to everything. They didn't add it to everybody. So, if you're going to do it, it should be, the passive and the ultimate. And those should really be the places where you do that.
Right. No, that makes sense. I'm really hoping that this is kind of the last ability, Matt, that we're going to see. But I think that there are going to be T5s, because didn't we actually, Panub, you would know, didn't we find placeholders for the next tier level?
Yeah, they're
like the
red.
colors for the next tier level?
Yeah, they look like they're
red
orbs. Yeah, and there's red training mats, and there's everything after the orange level is red in color. So we found a whole bunch of red icons for what we assume is the next step up.
And was there even another one after that? Did you guys find white or something?
Yeah, we found the gear frame. So when you equip the gear on the character, it's blue and then it's purple, and then I guess now next year is kind of an orange goldish. We found like a silver and then one that looked actually gold, the frames for that. So we think those would be the next gear up after you go through the orange gear.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. So I hope that kind of just ends up being the gear that goes up. But yeah, I have a feeling that it's going to be the abilities are going to keep going up, and I'm honestly okay with it, just because I want a payout on each ability eventually. I want a Zeta-like ability eventually, but now we're in this weird territory where some characters I feel like already now have a kind of Zeta-like ability, like with Punisher. You know, I feel like his has that big payoff that you see for a Zeta-like move. So I'm not sure if that's just going to come with reworks or if it's going to be with a new ability tier. But either way, the crux of this for me is just that I'm not a big fan of them increasing the price. But let's go ahead and move on to the 24-hour lock.
All right, so this one is the message that we found for when you try to leave your current alliance and join a new alliance. And the message is that you will not be able to claim rewards earned by your former alliance, and your raid key contributions will be paused for 24 hours.
All right, so Chewburger, since I know you've had a lot of discussion about this one, why don't you go ahead and take this one first?
Yeah, so I mean, I like the idea of it, obviously, because it stops some of the guys that are ticket stacking from being able to do their thing. I guess I do have some concerns in the way that it is rolled out. So was there anything in there, Panub, that it's only if you leave voluntarily or if you get kicked, or what was the story?
So the full message is confirm that you would like to leave current alliance and join new alliance. So that sounds like you're voluntarily leaving the alliance. And
So,
that's
yeah,
a warning
so-
message you get.
So to keep manipulating that system, could they simply kick that person out, and then if they came back, they would continue to get the rewards, or would it actually lock them for 24 hours with that?
Can't tell from this message.
Yeah. So I guess that would be the thing, that if there's such an easy loophole way around it, then it may not be as useful as you would think. However, if they do have it that way, where it locks it out to do anti-cheaters, you'd have to feel pretty rough as someone that just got booted from an alliance unexpectedly, and then you have to move somewhere else, and then you're locked out of rewards for 24 hours. I mean, look, it's only a couple of tickets. It's not the end of the world. But yeah, I'm sure there'll be some people that'll be frustrated by that. But I think it's the right step. So anything we can do to discourage that ticket hoarding and stacking is definitely a good thing for me, especially now that Stark Tech is here.
Right. No, I totally agree. Dorian, what about you? 'Cause
Yeah,
you were in beta. You guys had stacked up a lot of tickets, right?
Yeah, so my guild, we do have a lot of tickets stacked up, or we did. So I'm okay with it. So obviously a 3-year Star Wars Galaxy of Hero player here. When you are kicked out of a guild there, like right now we're in the middle of what's called a territory battle. And over there, if I get kicked from my current guild before payout on Tuesday or Sunday, I lose everything.
Oh yeah.
If I leave, if I get kicked out, if I join, I don't get anything. I mean, it's kind of brutal. And you know, that's why I always tell people, make sure you trust the guild you're joining. They could just be using you. So
does that really happen that often?
I can tell you that I have 2 friends that were in a guild that Chewie is familiar with. That were booted for no reason. They were just kicked by somebody. Apparently there was some type of merger, and they were just booted for quote unquote higher powered people. No warning, nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that happens. I'll be honest. I hate clusters. It'll happen a lot in clusters.
So let me talk about clusters for a sec, because I used to be very much against a lot of that happened as well. But now, as someone that's been captaining for a little while, like it is unbelievably frustrating sometimes to be, top 1 or 2 every day in a raid, doing literally 2 to 3 times more damage than your bottom rung of people. You can give people warnings for a long time that they need to get their gear in order and they need to, help the rest of the alliance and progress as a team, rather than investing inside teams that really don't help the alliance progress. So we actually, for the first time in a long time, kicked 2 people this week with very minimal notice to bring in some people that we knew were very, very capable of helping us progress as an alliance. It may sound harsh, but we had communicated with everyone multiple times that if you were going to continually miss events, if you weren't going to be doing focus farm for raids, doing your part of the team, we would relook at you. So this is the first time that I've actually recommended that players be kicked. And they were guys that I really liked, the 2 guys that were with us for a few months. However, they were unfortunately holding us back. And, they're in alliance now within the cluster. We didn't kick them out completely, and they seem to be settling into their new home just fine. But they're not getting the same sort of passive rewards they were with us, because obviously we're clearing much more. So, yeah.
Yeah, and you're talking about an instance though where people were warned, they were notified, they were, hey, we're looking at, low performers, that to me is not no notice, right? Yeah, you've done your due diligence there and told people, hey, if you don't keep up, then that's it.
Oh, that was a
That
general statement, but I mean, I think that most of those sort of things, if you're in the top 1 to 2, 3 alliances in a cluster, I think that you're going to expect to understand that if you are not performing, you may get bumped down one. If you are crushing it, you may move up one. That's just the way
right.
those things work, because you
Oh
want to
yeah.
keep having the top 1, 2, or 3 progressing forward to make the name for the alliance, and everyone else basically eventually, in a perfect world, settles into an alliance cluster with a group of people like them. So when the bottom run guys, they're normally the ones that get the angriest when they get booted down, because of course they're getting less rewards than they were, and
Right.
they now have to work harder to get arguably less. But
Oh,
unfortunately, from the flip side, those of us that are at the top end, we get frustrated by we're not progressing, we're not moving up leaderboards because we're doing all the work. So yeah, it's a catch-22.
oh, absolutely. I get it because I was a guild leader in that exact same cluster for Galaxy of Heroes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm, and I was dealing with 50 people. and
Yeah.
we had a whole movement system in place for, tracking movement up and down and what you were doing and what you weren't. And every week I was moving people. So no, I get it completely. It's one of those things though, where if you go into a new alliance and you're going into a cluster and you don't know these people, be wary. Just be wary. That's all I can say.
Yeah, it's good
Yeah,
advice.
I think it's good advice. Yeah, for sure. All right. Just since we've pretty much covered all facets of that one, put up. Why don't you go ahead and bring us to the fun stuff?
All right. Next up, we have Dark Dimension, and there's some stuff in here that we found later on that didn't get into the data mine, and I'll go over that in a minute.
Ooh.
So what we have is the first message, which is warning: this challenge is very difficult, but if you complete the map, you'll earn more immortality on the leaderboard. Your characters will revive when your daily objectives reset every day, so you can continue your journey. Earn over 1,000 items from the list of possible rewards below when you complete Enter the Darkness for the first time. Earn even more rewards when you complete your first timed run. Collect gold when you complete each node during the first 2 runs of this challenge. And then there's a second version of Dark Dimension, which is the Insanity difficulty. And this is warning: this challenge is insanely difficult, making Enter the Darkness look like a walk in the park. Those who complete this challenge will not only gain immortality on the leaderboard, but also unlock a unique player avatar frame. Your characters will revive when your daily objectives reset every day, so you can continue your journey. Earn over 3,000 items from the list of possible rewards below when you complete Fear the Darkness for the first time, as well as the ultra-powerful Ultron. Earn even more rewards when you complete your first time run. Collect gold when you complete each node during the first 2 runs of this challenge. And then we also found the message for unlocking a new frame that will be automatically applied to your avatar. And we also found a Dark Health Pack that is used to heal and revive your characters in the Dark Dimension. Since this data mine went out, we have also discovered that there are 16 nodes per each map for this. And we found the requirements for the 2 difficulty levels. So the easy one is level 70, gear 13 or gear 11 enemies that you have to fight, and they are pretty massive in waves. We think the first node will calculate at over 1 million power.
Wow.
Oh wow.
The insanity nodes are level 80, gear 14 enemies, and we actually broke one of them down, and it's something like 7 waves of 8 enemies each, and they have like 600% health boost as well. So even if you're a whale, I think this is going to be incredibly difficult to beat, at least at the insanity level.
Wow.
Wow.
That's
that was not
crazy.
What I was expecting. I mean, so I expected the insanity mode to be untouchable for someone like me, for sure. But I didn't realize that even the normal mode, what is it called? The regular one?
Enter the Darkness.
Yeah, Enter the Darkness. I didn't realize that one was going to be quite as difficult as you said. The first node was over 1 million.
Yeah, that's what we believe the first node will calculate the power out to.
Wow. Yeah. So yeah, I'll probably be out for that one too. What do you guys think, Chewy? What about you?
Man, I can't believe that we're doing another major game update and they're deliberately putting in another game mode that they already know is unachievable at current gear tiers. Like, that's dumb.
Yeah.
That's as dumb gets. Like, that's just deliberately trying to frustrate people into thinking they need to progress. But as Panub said, like, you could be the biggest whale right now and the most talented, skilled, understanding every interaction in the game, spaghetti code, whatever, and you still can't beat it. That's moronic. Creating content that is unbeatable is the peak of stupidity.
Yeah, I think that puts us at a really weird position because we can't. I legitimately don't know how you can do it. Even if you have a fully unlocked account with everything, I don't know how you're going to be able to complete Insanity. You might be able to stumble your way through, but go ahead, Panub.
I think the way this is actually going to work is that it's going to
Mhm.
save your progress every day. So if you kill like 2 guys on the node, when everything resets your characters, those 2 guys will still be dead. Everything will still be at that health, and then you just kind of
Okay.
chip away at it, one day at a time.
So it's
Yeah.
an energy refresh situation. And how often does it actually reset? Or is it basically it never resets? You just keep going till eventually you kill it. Do we have any indication?
I think it's on the daily reset.
Well,
from
your
what I
characters.
remember.
It sounds like your characters come back daily, but you
Yeah.
can only use them once. So when they die, they're done. But if you can progress through nodes with them, you'll be able to reuse them. Have you Chewy? You did the heroic Sith raid, right?
Yep.
Or did you do the tier 6? Remember the
Before that, yes,
the days and days and days it would take to do that, where you could only use 5 characters. They died, but the next
but that's
day
what I'm asking.
you can
Like,
do it again.
what's the reset period for the overall mode? Like, because I'm assuming that there is a reset period where basically it's going to knock you back to node 1, right? What I'm asking is, do we know what that period is? Is it open for a day? Is it open for 48 hours? Is it open for a week? Or are we progressing this over a month? Like, how does this work? Because that's going to make a big difference. If you have a month of like daily resets, then of course that's going to be just grinding your way to victory. Okay, it's possible. That makes more sense to what I was raging at about before. If it's on a short timer over a couple of days, that's a very, very different thing because it's unbeatable in that sense. Unless you are throwing refresh after refresh after refresh, and maybe that's how they get the whales. And then as a whale, maybe you could finish it. Okay, maybe I take that back. Under that methodology, I suppose that you could. But the time frame that it's open for me is going to depend on whether I like that or not.
Right. Panub, do you know anything more about those timeframes?
No, not at this point. We've heard a rumor that it's a month, but it's just a rumor. It's nothing we data mined, and I have no idea where that came from, to be honest with you. So I wouldn't put a lot of stock in it.
Okay. Well, I certainly hope that it is more like a month because that would at least make a little more sense. Because even with 70, it sounds like this is going to be incredibly hard, even for the lowest difficulty.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm hoping that it is a month because I actually, if we have like a month or something like that, which, like you said, this is the tiniest bit of belief in this. We, at least with that, I feel like I can chip my way through it, just as you guys were saying, very, very slowly. But I think I could do it for the lowest difficulty. But yeah, outside of that, I don't know. If it's like a week, it sounds like it's going to be really hard to do. So we'll have to see about that one. All right, well, let's go ahead and move on to the next data mine.
Okay, we found a subscription offer, and this is an energy subscription. Save over 70% by purchasing the subscription to get 120 campaign energy every day for as long as you are subscribed, even if you miss a day. Limited time special, receive 100 Thor shards with your first purchase. And then we found additional ones that were just limited time special, get the first month free. And then it goes on to say this offer is a weekly, monthly, yearly payment of blank. We don't know the cost yet. Is charged to your account at purchase confirmation. Your subscription will auto renew unless turned off at least 24 hours prior to the end of the current period, at which point your account will be charged the cost for renewal within 24 hours. After purchase, you can manage your subscription in your account settings.
But why don't you go ahead and let us know what you think about this one? I'm curious.
If it was cores, I think I'd be happier. An energy subscription doesn't really get me out of bed, to be honest. It's something that doesn't cost a lot in game to get additional energy, so I think I'd rather it was a core subscription, kind of like Galaxy of Heroes used to have back in the day. So I'm not super thrilled with this one, especially because it's probably going to cost like $7 or $8 at least. And I just don't think it's worth it.
Oh yeah, if it's something like that, hell no, I'm not going to do that. I would hope that this would just be like, like a $2-3 a month kind of thing. But it sounds like I'm way off on that. But I agree with you. I would not, if it was for cores, I would probably do it. But for energy, I've been burned way too many times where I do, a stack of 10 auto wins on a particular item that I'm trying to get, and I come out with nothing or one. So spending a couple of bucks, or potentially even up to somewhere like $8 or $9 a month for this, just to get an extra refresh daily, not working for me. Dorian, what about you?
Yeah, for energy, I'm not in on it. If you're not giving a subscription for premium currency, then it's just a waste of time.
Yeah, I just don't think the value is really there for that. Would you do it if it was something more like cores? I mean, obviously it would depend on the value, but would you be more interested at least if it was cores over energy?
Maybe. So I play like Disney Hero Battle Mode.
Right.
It's got probably one of the greatest subscriptions I've ever seen. It's like $3 for 120 diamonds a day.
Mm-hmm.
And so it would have to depend on the price point, because if it's a lower price point, then it's just not worth it.
Right.
Or if it's if it's a higher price point.
Right. Yeah, I think that. Don't you also get free gear with? Sorry, this is random, but don't you also get free gear with the refresh on battle mode, or no? Am I thinking of a different game? Is it just?
I think you're thinking
crystals?
a different game. It's just the crystals.
Okay. Chewy, what about you? Where's your opinions on this one?
Yeah, it's interchangeable, really. I mean, the thing you're most likely to spend cores on, I suppose, is going to be refreshes, whether you're going after gear or characters. We know from Nightly Gate that we think the most powerful in-game currency is energy, because we saw what he was able to do with a lot of it. So I don't think there's really a difference from getting, say, 50 cores a day to getting this. I mean, yep, if you're saving your cores for, let's say, Stark Tech, if you're saving your cores for unlocking characters or gear from the supply store, then yeah, maybe a cores option would be better. But for me, I have no problems at all with campaign energy. But if you're only getting, did you say it was about 120 per day? So just one extra refresh there, Panam?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's pretty low. I mean, so it's going to be cost dependent. I don't mind the whole campaign energy thing, but if it's going to be $8, $9, $10 American, which means it's going to be like $20 Australian, because they do the currency conversion and then ramp it up by like 80% because Australia. But it's just not going to be worth it for one refresh when you're getting more than enough free cores per day to pay for that same refresh. Meh. Yeah, I probably won't do it unless one of those things goes either cost down or what you get goes up.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably do it if like just for the first sign up for it if I get the 100 free Thor shards and do it for a month. Mm-hmm. But that's about it. Then I'll cancel it right afterwards, as long as it's not super costly. But
see, if there was a monthly benefit like that, where you got like, say, there was a random gift every 30 days and you just logged in and were pleasantly surprised, man, I'll be on board for that. That'd be fantastic. Yeah, I wouldn't care if it was 100 Scientist Supreme or some obscure character. I would absolutely pay for that. But yeah, it's a very different thing.
So let's say, what about if you got a free Mega Orb every month? Would that not do it? Because it's not 100 shards, it's potentially, but the pool's wide.
Yeah, less likely than if it was guaranteed character shards, because for me, yeah, I have not had a good run with Mega Orbs. Like, it's one of the parts where I'm pretty lucky in this game, but I haven't had good luck there. I always get things I already have at 7 stars whenever I open those things. So, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. No one wants to go down that circle of diminishing returns for Ultimas. Which,
yeah, they might as well say we're going to give you Ultima shards every month. It's like, yeah, okay, great.
Which, by the way, I actually did get a 15 Ultimus pull the other day. that I was super excited
Yeah,
about.
that's my weak spot too, because I've only ever got 1s and 2s. So I've opened a lot of
Yep.
those things, but I've never got that. So congrats, man.
Yeah.
Congrats on that one.
Yeah, that was the first time I've heard. I mean, I'm obviously tons of people have, but that was the first time I've seen it even like posted up or anything. So I was pretty excited about that. I still have the picture of it. I just, for some reason, my phone won't post pictures because they're too. It always says they're too big. I guess the iPhone 8 has some problem. I remember someone explained to me how to fix it, but I was just too lazy to fix it a while ago. But anyways, I'll brag about it later. So, Panub, let's go ahead and move on to the next section in it.
Alrighty. Shield Security got a health buff of around 12%, and Shield Medic got a focus and resist nerf of around 12% as well for each of those stats.
All right, now I think the only person that's qualified to speak on this one, I guess, would be Mr. Chewburger. What's your thoughts on this one?
I'm really stoked about the security bump. I had a feeling that one of the things I was reading from you, I may have read it wrong. Did you say that also Operative was getting a slight heal boost and not security as well? Or
no, we didn't find anything for Operative.
Yeah, I think someone might have written it down wrong in one of the channels, mate. I'll double check later. But if it's security, that's even better because, yeah, he definitely can be squishy when he's not blocking, although he is blocking most of the time. I can kind of understand the medic slight reduction because I don't know if anyone's aware, but she has a chance on her basic of doing a 1 to 2 turn offense down every time she shoots. It seems to trigger on assists as well. So that was hitting so often that very frequently you could offense down 2 or 3 members of their team if you got really lucky with assists, sometimes before her second turn. So, yeah, as much as I love my team and I want it to be OP as all get out for as long as it can be, I can kind of feel that that's probably acceptable.
Yeah, that makes sense to me too. I think that you also said that security was like God tier to you, right?
I love security. Yeah, the block frequency of security is insane. Like it's like under Fury when you have him boosted all the way up, even without T4, 70% of the time he's going to block that damage, which makes it really, really effective at mitigating damage as long as they're hitting security. I mean, that's what frustrates me the most about obviously Fury taunting with that interaction between Operative, because if you're hitting Fury, you're going to eat that. And his armor, his health, all of it does not feel good on Fury. Whereas, if they're going to hit security, there's a pretty good chance they're going to go bing and nothing else happens.
Right. No, that makes sense. Do you think he'd work for a non-Fury team? Obviously not as well, but do you think that he's still a strong tank if you really level him up?
Yes and no. I mean, if you have a couple of squishy guys in the team that you need to get a turn 1 ability off, I think he's amazing because he's going to auto taunt as long as they don't one-shot that character. Because as soon as they get him below 50%, he's going to throw that taunt up. So I think for that purpose, he's amazing in a lot of different nodes. So for example, if you ran a combination of just Operative and security on any escort mission where you need to keep one person alive in like a campaign or something, those two can get the job done just by themselves because they're going to target that person. They're going to drop below 50%. Security is going to jump in and eat the next hit or two, depending on how long it is till he takes his next turn. Operative is then going to stealth that person for 2 turns and heal them up. So I think just those two for that game mode alone are, God tier for that purpose. So I think he's got a lot of uses. He falls off significantly. His survivability falls off. But the main thing that he is usable for is for just saving the life of someone long enough for you to be able to get off whatever it is that you need to get off. For that, he's incredible in any team.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, he's in one node with Ultron that I have to go through. I think it's him, or maybe it's Iron Man I'm thinking of. But either way, one of the two, and it always keeps me from destroying them before they get off their beam. So,
mate, the Thor node in Ultimus down in the right-hand side, the whole reason that node is so difficult is because you can't CC the AoE guys that you need to because of the 2 shield securities. If those 2 guys weren't there, I promise you that node would be much more doable because you could target the things that you need to for crowd control. The fact that you can't because of those 2 is why that's so challenging.
Yeah, well, I will be happy to test that out whenever I get my hands on them, but it probably will not be for an incredibly long time. Dorian, what about you?
Yeah, I don't run Shield, so I really don't have much to say on this one.
Yeah, I'm assuming Panub, you don't either.
Not yet. I'm planning to the next time Fury comes around, though.
All right, are you gonna get it, Dorian, next time?
No. I've been going down the tech and the defender route. And that's when we get to talking about Star Tech, I'll talk about kind of where I've been going there, but I have not been working on Kree like at all.
Yeah, so I'm in the same boat. It sounds like you and me at least are going to be in the same boat. But it looks like Penub's going to join the ranks of gods with Chewie over there.
Hopefully he'll still deign to talk to us mere mortals.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the last part of the data mine, and also the coolest and most exciting part.
All right. So for those who don't understand what this means, we found ability icon placeholders for Juggernaut, Sabretooth, Carnage, Ultimate Spider-Man, and Pyro. And what these are, if you've seen these in the past, we've also found them for War Machine and Killmonger. Doesn't necessarily mean that they'll be in the game because War Machine and Killmonger have existed in there forever, but it does mean that they are being looked at to be worked on at this point.
Interesting. I never actually knew that Killmonger was on there. I knew War Machine was. I was not aware that Killmonger was. Damn.
In fact, with War Machine, originally his icon placeholders were these black and white, almost hand-drawn looking things, and in this most recent update, they actually replaced those with filled in art. So he actually has his icon art completely done now. So I don't know if that means he's on his way or what that means. So
yeah, I can't imagine what they're going to do, because I would assume that they would have some kind of event coming out for it, but we have at least a long road until we get to an opening where that could come.
Yeah.
Because we're pretty stacked up for at least the rest of the year, I would assume.
Man, when that comes out, I smell tech team between Iron Man, Ultron, and War Machine.
God, the more things go towards tech, the more upset I get, because poor vision.
When you're dying on that hill, the key word there is die.
Like I said, it's my burden to bear. But all right, well, I guess we also have a tiny bit of another little tidbit for the data mine, but they did find Mystique and her kit inside of the data mine, but we don't have the exact values for things yet. So we'll probably, once we have those values, if they will be coming out soon, I'm not sure, but once we do have those, then we'll be doing a character spotlight on her. But for now, we're going to kind of leave her be. We do have that information up on our Discord, so if you guys want to join in there, you can take a look at it for yourselves. But just know that we did find it. Now, I'm sorry, I don't mean to take any credit of that whatsoever, but they did find it, and so it is available. So if you guys want to look it up, you can. As far as the data mine, that pretty much wraps it up. So Penub, why don't you go ahead and tell us about the MPO a little bit?
Okay, for those who aren't aware, the MPO is the Marvel Player Organization server. It's a bunch of alliance leaders that got together to try and affect positive change for the game. I did a similar thing for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. For those of you who are familiar with that, it was the Make Star Wars Great Again server with Jolly Roger. But I left that game back in January. I think it's still running, and we had a lot of positive change come out of that server for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. So I helped organize this one and get them up and running, and then for good or for worse, kind of became the face of it for this effort. And so we put out a few surveys. We got another quality of life one going out. So if you've done the survey, thank you. If you haven't, just keep an eye on it. We try and spam it to everybody when we create a new one. Our second survey got over 3,000 results. And the third survey, which kind of was hidden in the big message I left on Reddit, didn't get as many, about 1,600. And that one was focused on how they should implement skins. The next survey we're going to do is going to be focused on quality of life updates. So that's what
you could just put out a survey asking them to not do skins.
No, don't do that. I want skins.
No,
Bring in the skins.
So horrible.
Well, Penub, do you want skins or no?
I mean, they're coming. They've already talked about that they're going to do them. They just have to figure out how to do them. So I think it's already kind of left the boat's already kind of left the dock. At this point.
I suppose. I mean, are you excited about skins? Are you glad that skins are coming into the game?
Yes and no. I mean, I played Marvel Avengers Alliance, which had a lot of skins in it, but the skins that were in that game were they completely changed a character's kit. So a bad character might have gotten really good with their new skin. I kind of don't want this game to go down that road, and potentially put those kind of meta-defining skins behind a paywall. I'd rather they were just cosmetic and maybe new attack animations. Like if you get Spider-Man, you get Iron Spider, you get an Iron Spider attack animation,
right?
Versus a whole new kit that changes how he functions. But that's my personal opinion.
All right. Well, Chewy, did you have something that you wanted to ask?
Yeah, I did. So Penub, Blameful Gecko, who's one of the members in this server and had a question for you a little bit earlier, was basically just asking a question. Obviously, you guys are doing data mines and your team is very frequently. You're looking through this data. Do they throw red herrings at you very often where there's things that they're deliberately just trying to sort of put in there in the coding of the data mines that aren't real, but it seems like it's just there for you guys to maybe bite? Do you ever find that?
I mean, yes and no. I think it's more them testing the waters. So if any of you remember a while back, I found some info that certain characters were going to the arena store. I think the first one was Black Panther, and then the next one was Vision. And those didn't end up happening. And of course, I still get pings about, that stuff, it never happened. Your data mines aren't real. Okay. But I think that from what I understand, and I've talked with the devs specifically with Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, when I talk with them, they'll start working on an item and then something changes and they have to completely scrap it or put it to the side for a long period of time and deal with something else from somebody higher up made a decision. And I think that's more of what happens with the data mines is we see something that was started on and then it just had to get put to the side. And then I think there is some level of them just testing the waters, saying, hey, let's see if we throw this in there. Let's see how the community reacts to it. Make a decision on that.
Right. No, that makes sense. Did you have anything else you wanted to ask?
No, that was it. I saw that question earlier from Blameful, so I just wanted to make sure that we got that question while we were blessed with Punub's presence.
Yes. All right. Well, I guess that pretty much does it for the data mine section. So, Punub, thank you so much for coming in and doing this for us. We're looking forward to having you on and doing this again in the future, whenever you can, of course. And yeah, that pretty much does it for that.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, man. Really appreciate it.
See you, buddy. All right. So, moving on. Once again, a big thank you to Penub for that one. And let us know if you guys enjoyed that segment. We hope that you guys did. They deserve all the credit that they can possibly get because they are constantly doing that. They literally do that all just for us. So we're really glad that we can at least have him in the spotlight for a bit. So yeah, moving on, we're going to go to the bug issues. So we've had a few odd things happen this patch. A lot of them have been fixed, thankfully. But one of the weirder ones is the fact that Thanos all of a sudden had traits applied all over the raid, which was one of the weirdest things I've seen. But Chewy, what did you think about that?
Yeah, we were definitely not happy in our alliance because we got a few guys who, well, actually myself is even included in that our villains teams are just terrible. So, I mean, not being able to use any of the teams that we had previously to clear the same content obviously sucked. The fact that they did send us some of those rewards, like what was it? Like the orange gear orbs and that sort of thing in the mail was okay. I mean, they only gave us enough compensation for probably the first raid, whereas in that window of time, we actually had 2 raids. So we came very, very close to the finish line where we were worried we weren't going to get it done. But fortunately enough, we had Big Roy step up last minute and clear out strike 3 where they just dropped off a bit. So yeah, it was frustrating. It seems like a genuine mistake. So yeah, we'll say that we'll chalk it up to error and we'll move on as long as it doesn't happen again. And that's not intended somewhere down the line.
Right. Now, we might actually have a little bit more information on why that happened, thanks to Penub. Okay. But we'll find that out in a second. In the meantime, Dorian, what about you? Did it affect your alliance at all whenever you were going through it? I mean, I'm sure it did to some degree, but Were you happy with the rewards that you got instead, or the compensation rather?
Yeah, so we weren't completing it 100%, and honestly, it didn't. I don't know if it hit us as bad because we were still able to get 60% plus on the Thanos raid. So I mean, I was lucky that the lane I was assigned was like all hero and villain, and so I just kind of cakewalked my way up through that. So it was relatively easy.
So you have a really good high-end hero and villain team?
So my villain team is let's see, Thanos, Mordo, Kingpin, Crossbones, and Yondu. And both Yondu and Kingpin have their passive upgrades.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I've got a decent villain team.
What sort of STP is that team running at, for interest sake? T10 tier 11 plus?
They're all close to T10. Let's see. Thanos is obviously the highest at T11. Yondu, I want to say, is T10. I don't know the STP on that team off the top of my head. If you give me a little bit of time, I can find it and come back to it.
Right. Well,
and let you know.
Sure. Yeah, because we actually just had Panub shed a little bit of light on this, and it's actually pretty close to something that Chewy and I were discussing the other day on our reasoning as to why that might have happened. But he says the Alpha Strike raid was pushed at the time that the bug occurred. The final tier of Alpha has every node trait required. It looks like they screwed up the tags for the final Thanos, and it picked up the trait requirements for every node like the Alpha Strike raid has. So it looks like it basically just kind of copied over what was needed with the Alpha in terms of the Thanos raid. So the Thanos raid, we already had notes for heroes and villains, and it looks like it filled it all in with that. So because it was really odd that, you know, it seemed like that it was already kind of ready in a way to go. So we had figured that it was something to do with the Alpha. Yeah, so it was pretty interesting. It did affect us for the same reasoning as Chewy had. You know, we do 100% it as well, and it kind of caught us in between. So the compensation wasn't quite what I hoped for, but, you know, they've been giving out a lot of compensation recently for a lot of stuff. Some of the stuff I don't even know why. I just see issues resolved, and I'm like, all right, cool. Issues resolved. So I was happy to see that one. So yeah, I wasn't in a position where I could complain too much. So, and I already, you know, this is a selfish reason, but I already got my Thanos up to 6 stars, so I'm not too concerned about, you know, granted, I'm just not too concerned about the Thanos shards right now. For me, it's going to be a long time until I get them at 7 stars, I think.
Yeah. To answer your STP question, that team for me sits around 120k power.
So it's pretty decent. So it'd be T11, half of them maybe most of them T10, couple in T11. Yeah, that's a pretty solid villain squad. Definitely better than mine.
Yeah. So.
Oh, really? Yours is low? I would have figured that you would have had a monstrous one.
For villains?
Kree or villain?
Yeah. Remember how we were talking about a good villain team? I want that rework more than just about anyone, man, for exactly that reason. So those guys can actually be useful for villains. But in saying that, most of those guys are only about 11 to 12k each anyway as a maximum. So my villains team is a 33k Yondu, a 27k Thanos, a 25k Crossbones, a Hand Sentry at 18k, and then it's a significant drop off to that. You know, 15k Reaper, Kree, 14k Cyborg, 14k Mordo, and down it goes. So yeah, my villains team is pretty rough, really, except for those main guys. But there's nothing really sensational about that squad. They're a very tanky, control-y, bursty type team, but there's no real heal. That's the thing at the moment. Not having a good villain healer is something that this game absolutely needs.
So that's actually, though, where Yondu and Crossbones work really well, because Yondu, if you sit him behind Thanos, he's calling minion after minion after minion, so you're going to get Stitchers. So that team will actually
RNG,
heal
though,
well.
isn't it? Because, I mean, you might just get boomer, 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 boomer. So then it's like, okay, well, maybe you can out-dips the damage coming in,
and then Crossbones on his taunt heals himself. So he they're and obviously Thanos can heal himself. So I actually like that villain.
Yeah, I'm actually in agreement with you on this one. I think that we have a massive shortage of good healers on this team or in this game, especially since we have Night Nurse, who is so strong, but she's really a lot of times only applicable to one type. So,
I understand that, but conversely, like I noticed this today, there are no hero minion callers except for Fury.
There are no what? Sorry,
minions. There are hero minions other than Fury, so there's no summoner.
Yep.
Right. I would rather have a healer than a summoner, honestly. But
well, I mean, you've got Hand Sorceress. She's not horrible.
These
guys all self heal.
Yeah, I mean,
but
I don't think that Hand Sorceress is nearly on the same level as Night Nurse. I just want a healer that is straight up healing and can do a similar setup to what Night Nurse does. And it seems like we really don't have that, because you do have Yondu is pretty much your best bet of a healer on there in a viable team, and he is RNG dependent on the minions. Which one's Stitcher? On the Stitcher minions, and even then, like his heals, they fell off like a while ago. They do almost nothing now. It feels like so. For me, I'm really lacking a healer. Whenever I pull a villains team out, I'm always a little worried.
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, Stitcher, he'll heal for about 4,000 plus 7-8% of his max health when that ability's fully upgraded. So yeah,
I get what you're saying, but the thing is with Yondu, and the reason why I fought very hard against the proposal for him being nerfed is that, let's say that you had a good run and you end up getting like 6 of his minions up because you just had Thanos energy fed. You get one Punisher go off, all the minions are gone, no heals for you for the rest of the thing. You get, first turn, you're going to get Punisher do that. So there's a lot of AoEs that basically counter Yondu so hard. And if he's the primary source of heals, then yeah. And you're exactly right. Sorcerer is an okay healer. I still do not understand why they nerfed her as hard as they did a little while back. Because I think that if they didn't, we'd probably be having a different discussion. I think she'd be worthwhile bringing up, because that combination of defense up and that great heal, which would be more in like what you see with Shield Medic's current healing levels. She's a fantastic healer, especially in a Shield team, and the chance of revive as well, of course. So yeah, it just seems like a really bad choice that the only healer-specific character they have for villains was nerfed into the ground out of nowhere. It was nowhere near overpowered then.
Yeah, I agree. And what's even more strange is I don't know, and this is just probably because I have a lack of knowledge in this area, but do you guys know of a villain healer that could come into the game, like a actual named villain healer?
I'm just trying to think. So who are the ones in the data mine? Because I mean, the Brotherhood is probably the next team that we've got coming out. The question is one of that team going to be a healer for a Brotherhood squad? So what did we just hear? Sabretooth was not going to be him. Pyro,
not going to be
him. Juggernaut will be the tank. We know Mystique is more of a sort of buff stealing, stealthy type mechanic. So there's not really a healer announced in that squad either. So if there was some sort of a psychic type character, maybe you make an Emma Frost when she was sort of dark side. I don't know. I mean, Emma Frost is normally a hero, I know, but she's danced on both sides of the spectrum.
Oh, she started out bad, though. She started out as part of the Hellfire Club.
Yeah. So then maybe they do a dark side Emma Frost. You could always have someone like a Toad. You know, maybe he does like a mix of sort of poisons on the other team and hots on your team. Maybe a Dark Phoenix, although I think a Phoenix is more likely to be a hero character. Who knows?
Actually, can I interject on that real quick?
Mm-hmm.
I actually think, I don't know if you remember, but whenever I mentioned Phoenix before, whenever we had Casino on, he kind of paused for a second and he was like, yeah. Now that could mean nothing at all. But I remember in that moment, I was thinking that was a different type of reaction. And after seeing the preview for the Dark Phoenix movie, I'm really thinking that we're going to get Dark Phoenix, that's going to be the P character that he was talking about. It's Phoenix. I think it's
going to be Pyro.
I think it's
Pyro
going to be
makes
Pyro.
more sense for that Brotherhood's team, because he was talking about mutants at that stage for this year. I don't think Phoenix will come out this year because that movie's not until next year.
Oh, it doesn't come out until next year?
Yeah.
It's 2019 now.
Oh,
It got pushed
damn.
back because of the whole Fox Disney pissing contest.
Oh, yeah, I really thought that was going to be it.
Well,
Pyro
we
might
could-
be a better option.
Chewy and I could agree with you, but then all three of us would be wrong.
So I'll be wrong all on my own. No friends. All right.
Hey, but this is where you stand. You always need one guy that goes and stands on that weird hill by himself, and then sometimes it pays
then
off like it has.
But he
Yeah,
did that
it
with
pays off.
Vision. Hey, look,
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you guys.
That
Hey,
did not pay off.
no, that didn't pay off.
Did not
But I'm
pay
going to
off.
tell you, I'm the guy you want to be with. All right, I'm just going to tell you, Thanos and Luke Cage, two guys I went
Yeah.
heavy
you're
on
lucky with
early.
Well, I will say though, so Luke Cage he's really, really good in a defender's team. Outside of a defender's team,
Outside of a Timber's team, he's meh.
yeah.
Right. I'm not blind or stupid.
Right. But but yeah, I mean, I don't know, the hill that you were dying on before made me believe otherwise, I think. But
No. So here's my thing. Okay, so look, let's
Sure,
go back
go
to this, right?
go ahead.
It was not that I was saying Luke Cage was the best tank out there. Those words never came out of my mouth. I said Luke
No,
Cage was
I
the
think
most underrated tank out there, that there was so much hate for him, because when we had Casino on originally, we were talking about Luke Cage because I was big on Luke Cage because of the fact he does a 2-turn taunt. And when you paired him with Jessica Jones, his resistance was high enough that dispelling that was going to be difficult.
Right.
And when Casino and I talked, we talked about, he's a good tank, but he's just like 5% less than, Cap or Drax at the time. I don't think Thanos was in the game yet. And so it was like he's not a top tier tank, but he's right there. He just needs something. And so that was the something I think that he got. Yes, it's pretty much a defender centric kit now, but he's definitely a great tank when in the right team.
Right.
So anyway,
No.
there's my weekly Luke Cage.
That hasn't died. It
No.
never will, I guess.
No.
Somehow I hope to kill it one day. But yeah, no, I think you're right. I mean, he's definitely really good where he is right now for defenders. That defenders team, it just destroys everything. So yeah,
Except
you're
Fury.
right.
I haven't tried it against Fury yet.
I mean,
I wouldn't if you want to win.
yeah, you're gonna get smashed. I think the only thing that really consistently beats Fury is what? Chewy, what do you think?
You're going to need some RNG. So I think if you get, to be honest, now that I know that bug's there, and I really shouldn't tell people this, what you want to do is disrupt the speed that happens between Operative and Fury. Because if you can do that, and you taunt a little bit later than you normally would, you're going to cause Fury to expose himself, right? So if you can slow down. Oh, really? So that sort of a joke's okay? I thought we weren't allowed to do this kind of cheesy sexual innuendo stuff. Man,
Look,
all right.
look, it's the fact he comes
Hypocrisy
out in the
here.
trench coat, okay? It's the whole fact he comes out in the trench coat, and you just...
And also the way you leaned into it too. He's like, he's gonna expose himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. So yeah, if you can slow Fury down early to disrupt the time that the time difference between when Operative steals a taunt and the time when Fury can shake it off, that's going to be one way you can blow that team apart. Because when he goes, a lot of the synergy for that team goes with him. So I would say, yeah, disrupt the speed between Operative and Fury. You're going to have a more reliable win. The other thing as well is that if you can keep any of the buff flip characters around, so I actually do think that getting the buff flip off on, what is that guy's name? Venom is going to be something that's going to help you a lot. Having a Doctor Strange in there. If you can wait with Strange until Fury does his AoE buff spreading, which is going to be on his second turn when you're up against an AI, because he'll summon minions turn 1, and then he'll use his buff spread on the second turn. If you've still got a Strange alive at that point, that's going to be very difficult for them to come back if you have something waiting. So it's just a matter of, can you keep those things alive for long enough? That's where it really will depend. So maybe that's where somewhere like, maybe even throwing in a random shield security in a team that's not shield is going to be beneficial, because he can jump in and stop that Strange from getting nailed turn 1.
Well,
Yeah.
and would Drax be good there with that auto taunt?
Nope, because you are going to lose it on the very, very first turn. So Operative is the fastest character in the game under Fury. She is going to go. Oh, sorry, I take it back. Loki is the fastest character in the game, but she under a Fury is second. She's going to go first. She's going to shoot Drax, and almost, I don't know, 99% of the time, it is going to steal that taunt, give it to Fury. Medic will take her turn if she's on the board. Otherwise, then Fury will take his turn. And then Fury will then shake that taunt off. So no, unfortunately, it doesn't, mate. Yeah, but if you throw in a Thanos or a Luke Cage, if you get that steal mechanic happen while those guys' taunts are up, you've got more time to take Fury down because he's going to have that taunt up for 2 turns.
Interesting.
Right.
Yeah, I can't believe the week that I've got back into top 5 in Arena, I'm telling people how to kill myself. Like it's
I was about to say, I was like, everyone that's in his
this is
shard,
fucked.
go target him right now. Take him
We
down.
call these dirt moments.
Yeah, and
All
then I'll
right.
send you a bag of dicks emoji.
There we go. That's all we ever wanted. So let's go ahead and move on to the. I don't know how we got off onto this, but we'll go ahead and move on to the next one, which is the milestones always showing that one notification. This is fucking annoying.
Oh, it's
my
annoying as
God.
all get out.
I don't know what I mean. It's obviously like it's the pickiest thing on my end that I've ever seen because I know it's like so small and it's like really like it's just a little notification thing. I hate it so much. It's crazy. It's just every single time whenever I open my screen, I still click on it instinctively like 60-70% of the time. Yeah, but Chewy, what do you think about this?
It's irritating, but I think we all know it's going to go at some point soon, so I'm not too stressed about it. I think this happened once before, to be honest, where there was a weird
Yeah, I
thing
think
where it
it
kept on
did.
giving you
It
things
did?
that were in the game that weren't
Yeah.
there. I think it might have been milestones as
I
well.
don't
So yeah, I'm not
think
too stressed
so.
about it.
I don't remember that at all, and I feel like
If it
would have
wasn't
bugged
that,
me.
it was like events or something. I think it might have been even in launch. It might have been that when you finished the Elektra and Crossbones events, that's how long ago that was. That they sort of still kept coming up as go and do this event, the red dot on the screen. So yeah, it'll go. That's not a stressful one for me.
Now, Focus said in the chat here, he said, go to Stark upgrades page and claim the blue boxes. The notification will go away. I have to say, I've done that, and that has
Me too.
not, that
Yeah,
has not worked for me. Mine's still up there, loud and proud.
Yeah,
Oh,
not for me
speaking of
either.
which, do you guys know?
Yeah.
Never mind. We'll get when we actually get to the update. We could talk
Yeah.
about some of that stuff.
But yeah, but so obviously all of you guys still have it, right? Because I've heard some people have been able to get rid of it as well.
I still have it, and it's showing 2 now. So mine is
Sure,
growing.
2? Yours is growing.
Yeah. Mine is growing.
Okay, well, that's strange. I hope that doesn't happen to mine.
Oh,
All right,
hey,
well,
I just found out that if you don't accept the Stark Tech currency from the day before, it automatically gives it to you when you go in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, good to know. It doesn't just go away.
Yeah,
Cool.
well, that's good. I'm glad. All right, well, let's go ahead and get down to the big stuff, which is the new update that came out. Now, let's go ahead and kick it off with the new heroes that we will be seeing. So, strengthen your roster with 3 new playable characters releasing over the course of this update, which is Venom, Mystique, and Ultron. Now, obviously, we're going to be going more into Venom later on. So we're going to bypass him right now. But how do you guys feel about these 3 characters coming in? Ultimately, Ultron we already knew was in the game, but his rework and, Mystique coming in. What do you think, Dorian?
Oh, I love it. I think it's great. I expected Venom with the movie coming out,
Mhm.
and I mean he's such an iconic character since his release, and or since his introduction into the Marvel Universe back in the 80s, I think. And it's just he's just such a fascinating character. I love that. Mystique has always been one of my favorite mutants. With her kit and abilities, and then you can't have a Marvel game without Ultron. So these guys coming into the game is fabulous.
Well, let me ask you a question, though, real quick about it. For Mystique, because I know that you've mentioned a couple of times now that you really wanted her to come into the game. How do you think, I know we didn't go over the specifics of the abilities, but one of her abilities is that she copies your primary target, and then it causes your enemies to target the person you copied. How do you feel that they worked that mechanic? Do you think that they worked it well, or would you rather have wished for something a little more?
That's actually exactly what I wanted her to be able to do. I wanted her to be able to copy somebody else, and either A, adopt their abilities, or B, cause confusion of some type. So
Okay.
what they did was they took Loki's target, enemy targeting somebody, and gave it to Mystique.
Right.
So I'm okay with that. I think that I think that mechanic sounds like it's going to be really fascinating.
Now, let me ask you a lore-based question real quick, just because I'm curious about it. For Mystique, whenever she copies a particular character in the comics, does she also gain some of their abilities, or is it just the aesthetics?
So it's really just the aesthetic. So if you remember back to if we go to like the X-Men movie, because they actually did her really well there, when she copied Logan and she did like she was able to do the claws, but they weren't real.
Right.
So
they weren't made out of adamantium.
Right. So they were just extensions of her basically. So and that's really how her kit has always played in like the comics and the movies. And so she can mimic appearances, but she can't mimic pure ability.
Okay. Well, yeah, so then that makes a little more sense to me, because personally I was hoping for a little bit more from Mystique at the time. I was thinking that I wanted her to be able to copy someone and take their abilities. But if she was never able to do that and it was more just an aesthetic thing, then it makes more sense that it was more of a covert confusion kind of option that they went with.
Yeah, you got to remember, Mystique was always a spy assassin. Right. She was the Black Widow of the mutants that could kind of infiltrate anywhere.
Yeah, and actually, it's funny that you mentioned that, because Chewie and I were talking about her kit yesterday, and I'm trying not to go into it, but a lot of her abilities are very reminiscent of Black Widow for those exact reasons, I think. But all right, well, let's go ahead and jump over to Chewie. What do you think about these three characters?
Well, look, having come up against him quite a few times already, I want Ultron real bad right now. He seems really painful to deal with. The sustain effect of him, that if you get a bit of a mess up and you end up losing your Ultron, the fact he's going to come back, once per raid, I suppose. I'm assuming that's the way it works. With 50% health, ready to go, with high armor and a big bang bang. I mean, yeah, Ultron's probably, of those three right now, the one that I want the most. Mystique looks cool, but I don't think she's going to live up to her potential until we see her under a Magneto. And yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, look, Venom seems okay, and we're going to talk about him shortly. So I'll wait until then. So yeah, that's where I'm at. For me, Ultron, yeah, I want him, and I want him now.
Yeah, for me, Ultron is also the biggest thing here. I could not believe his rework. I think it's the most broken thing I've seen. It's crazy. I mean, not like, well, I don't know. He's the most single person broken that I've seen so far, because everyone else that's like kind of OP is typically OP with their team. But man, Ultron's just ridiculous. Even with, I guess he also has his team too. His accelerators, whenever he gets his accelerators up and he's just going turn after turn, it's crazy how quickly he can stack up everything. And that damage he does with his first turn ult, I mean, it's almost impossible to not get hit by it along with his revive. Because even if you take him out, he's about to go again whenever he revives with half health.
Well, I mean, it would be worse if you waited till later too. I mean, if you waited a couple of turns and he had those buffs up and does all that extra damage, I mean, there's some insane output he can have. But the one thing I don't understand, and I'm hoping that it's just for the raids. I mean, otherwise it's going to be he'll be worse than I actually thought under player control. Is that, have you noticed how much health his Ultron bots come in the raids?
No.
They're not like standard summons. Like, they're not going to be one-shot kills like everything else. They come in almost the same way that the hand characters came back when that bug was still around, that when Nobu would summon, if you killed them, they came back like they were a maxed out Blade Master or Archer. That's how these things feel as they're summoned. Now, until I see someone control him so I can see that it's not intended, that worries me a little bit because it's almost like having another 2 mid-level tunes rather than some summons.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I actually totally forgot about that. I noticed that myself because one of my nodes in Thanos goes up against him. I'm on the far left side. And yeah, whenever he summoned them for the first time, I was like, holy cow, like those are like, I thought I missed something and it was just 2 new guys that dropped in. But
yeah,
that was part of like the waves. But no, it was his summons. And I was like, holy cow, this is ridiculous. And yeah, of course, then they accelerated everything and he destroyed me. But the whole, doubling damage on a defensed up target makes it all the more difficult to try to take him down. You just got to make sure that there's no defense up on you and you got to try to offense down him. And that's about it. And you still have to try to nuke him down too at the same time. It's just so much focusing having to go down and you have to be really tactical about how you handle it. It's crazy.
Yeah. Now his in-game kit does say it's only 100% health. So I'm hoping we'll be able to see these minions and kind of see what they come in at.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it is going to be the same way it is for Yondu and the hand minions, but
yeah,
as of right now, what we've seen in the raids, yeah, it's not for some reason. So I really hope that is the case. Otherwise, that is going to be all kinds of broken. I mean, he already is all kinds of broken.
What level is Ultron in that raid? Do you know off the top of your head? I can't remember.
Regardless, he was really strong. I think he was in 2 or 3 times on the far left side. And so the last one that you fight him in, the first one isn't so bad because he's not as high, but the last one that you fight him in, terrible. But other than him, Mystique, I really enjoy. I think her kit looks really cool. And I like what they did. I'm a little better now with the route that they took, the copy a person's aesthetics. So I'm better about that. Venom, we're gonna get into in a minute, so I won't talk about him. But let's go ahead and move to the next segment then, which is the Dark Dimension. We already discussed, so we're good there. And then we have the Venom campaign. So there's a new event campaign featuring Venom that will launch alongside the Alpha Strike raids. Complete these missions and raids to earn Venom orb fragments. Unlocks at 2 stars. So obviously we've already started that. I know that Chewy and I bought a pack beforehand, so we've already messed around with them a decent bit. Dorian, did you end up buying the pack? Have you already unlocked them or no?
Did I not tell you that I had to get my car fixed and it was like $700?
Oh yeah, so it's a no.
Yeah, but then to make yourself feel better about that, Dorian, you get yourself a little Venom pack.
Yeah,
give yourself a bit of a treat.
No, because present. I am going on an anniversary vacation next week to Gatlinburg for about a week, and it's just gonna be me and the wife. And no, I'm not spending extra money right now.
So you don't want it to be you, the wife, and Venom?
No, definitely not.
All right. I need to get out of my
because I have a feeling it would just be me and Venom.
Yeah, I'm sitting on so many jokes right now. Oh my god, it's just
I know
my
you
brain
are.
is exploding.
I know. I get it. I understand. Yeah. I'm a dude too. I know.
I wish I could get out of my head right now because many things are happening. All right. Yeah. Sorry,
Moving on.
That's my fault. All right. So we have the new raid, the Strike Raid Alpha featuring Venom. We have 3 difficulties: Strike Raid Alpha 1, Strike Raid Alpha 2, Strike Raid Alpha 3, and we earn Venom character orb fragments and gold. And we have trait-based nodes. The raids require cosmic, global, and city teams to complete. Sorry, what do you guys think about this new raid style that they're doing? Yeah, because I mean that's the big thing that we're seeing right now is the basically they're going to put half of it through the campaign and they're going to put half of it through this raid. So yeah, what were you saying, Dorian?
Oh, I said I like it. I do. This is how I want characters released, right? So give me the character and the ability to get them, maybe 3 stars or whatever out of the campaign, and then we've got this raid to really beef them up another couple of stars, right? Before they go into like the premium orbs, the mega orbs, whatever. So this to me feels like a better release cadence style. and I think that this will be better for everyone overall, and be better for growth. Now, obviously, the higher powered guilds, they're going to be able to clear this and get more nodes, or get more fragments, get more orbs, get more of the character. But that's the nature of these types of games anyway. So, I mean, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Right. Chew, what about you?
Yeah, I think that having the both simultaneously is definitely a good way to do it, because you're going to appeal to a few different camps. The fact that they're using the same type of characters for the campaign to also have some of the same lanes in the raid is good. Obviously, that you could use Cosmic in both. Are we talking about the specifics of this raid now, or are you going to come back to that shortly?
Yeah, no, go ahead and let's talk about the specifics of the raid.
All right, cool. So I got up a little bit earlier today because I wanted to jump in and pretty much finish that campaign and also hit some of these raid nodes, because we've got ours going live now, so that I could, I guess, give a little bit of feedback about what I actually think about both of those. So first of all, let's have a quick chat, if you guys are up for it, about the story of the campaign. Have you guys played much of that yet?
I've not. I played the first node. That's about it.
Dorian?
Yeah, I'm at 1.7 looking at the story right now.
Yeah, it's quite fun, right? I don't mind.
Oh yeah. It's the campaign's great.
Should we talk about it now, given that this podcast is not going to go out for a couple of days, and then people who are in live chat maybe just put their finger in their ears for 15 seconds?
I'm okay with that. I will say that. Well, all right. Let's talk about it first. Then I'll say what I'm gonna say. But Dorian, are you good with that?
Normally I'm really, really, really big on not spoiling anything.
Okay, we won't say it. Okay, it's really fun.
It is really fun.
We'll talk about more next week.
Yeah.
Yep. The good news is for everyone out there, so that team that I mentioned just before for my Cosmic, which isn't the strongest in the world, but it's not too bad. It can clear all of that event, and I only had a little bit of bad RNG on the second 20 energy node, which I 2-starred very, very comfortably, but did lose Strange pretty much right out of the gate. So even with, I think I may have one T11 in that squad, everyone else is between T8 to T10. It's very, very achievable. So that's the good news. It doesn't seem like there's a big, Scarlet Witch 1.7 difficulty spike. So that's the great news about the campaign.
Right.
For the raid, however, it's going to be a while before a lot of the guilds are able to clear that, because you're going to have so many people with a great global squad, which is obviously the more achievable one right now, a really good Cosmic squad, and a really good City squad. I mean, yep, everyone's defending, everyone's rolling up the defenders right now, but that's going to take time. So, for me as a personal thing, I was quite excited. I actually assumed, I didn't even read the instructions that was given to me. Someone just basically said, your left-hand side, this lane. I assumed I was going to get global because I'm Fury. I thought I'll clear to the end. That's my job. No, I was given Cosmic. So I've blown out, I think, on the third Cosmic specific node, because it kind of goes Cosmic node, Cosmic or global, Cosmic node, Cosmic or global, boss, repeat to the end.
Yeah.
So no Cosmic healer outside of Strange kind of sucks, to be honest. I mean,
there's Groot.
Yep. So again, there's no real Cosmic healer. I wish he was better. I really do, Dorian. I can't wait for that rework. I'm banking on it so hard that I spend campaign energy every day farming Groot. I want that to be true. I'd love to run just a full Guardian squad, maybe with Thanos in instead of Drax. And the day that's viable is the day I'll do it. So for me, I've actually reached out to our alliance and said, look, I really want to lock down who's doing what lanes going forward, because if you're leaving me here, I'm going to have to stop a lot of the things I planned on doing over the next couple of weeks. I'm going to have to build that Cosmic team to a T11. I'm going to have to get all their abilities up to max and do all that sort of stuff. Or if they say, okay, you global, then I'm sweet. Or if they want me to go over to being purely City, man, I got some work to do if I end up over there. But Defenders is going to be worth it. So yeah, those trait-specific nodes are always going to be a little bit problematic when they make those changes, unless you'd invested very specifically and went right up. Like, some of these new raid modes, Dorian, I think you're going to have to get on the T12 train, bud.
Yeah, I've run through some of the raids so far. Now, I didn't take Strange. I did take Groot, even though he's not as powerful right now, mainly because I was running Rocket in that Cosmic team, and
Yep.
that extra burst damage is just phenomenal. Like he cleared an entire wave just with his AOE.
Oh, I should have asked which difficulty level did you do?
We did 2.
Okay, so we've gone straight into 3.
Okay.
So that's probably some of why we're having a different experience. Yeah, we went straight for the top end, gunning for as high as we can. We want to get 60. I think what's going to happen is a lot of guys are going to fall off mid tier, and I'll have to shift back to just basically clearing as many globals as I can up the middle.
Now,
Yeah.
is the raid, the second raid, the Alpha 2, that one is about half the trait nodes, right? As far as
I'm
like,
actually not sure. I haven't looked at the map.
It's all trait.
it's all trait nodes for Alpha 2 as well?
Yeah.
Huh. I thought that for some reason the raid Alpha 2 was less of trait nodes than raid Alpha 3.
I just thought it was lower difficulty.
That's what I thought too.
About the trait side of things.
Interesting. I could have swore I saw a post on that. Okay. Well, for me, actually, first two I didn't get to ask you. What do you like this release style? As far as them basically combining the two between raids and a campaign?
Yeah, definitely. I think I did mention that at the first start before I went on the side rant about the trait specifics. That, yeah, when they do the two combined, I think it's a really good way of doing it, especially if you can use the same traded teams in both versions of that. So if you've got a good Cosmic team, you're going to do well in the raid, and you're going to do well in the campaign.
Okay, yeah, I must have missed that. But yeah, so my feelings on that pretty much are the same exact thing. I am really glad that they started bringing them in a raid again, because I enjoyed getting my characters from a raid, and I also loved going through the campaign. So I kind of get the best of both worlds for me. That being said, granted, I have done I did the first node, like I said, and then I repeated it a couple of times because I knew I was going to be doing the podcast. So I wanted my energy to refresh a bit. I got one drop, I think, out of 4 or 5 auto completes. So I'm a little worried. What were you guys getting drop wise? Because it felt way less. Like I said, I had a limited action with it, but how did it feel? Did it feel less than the last one or more than the last one? About the same?
Sorry, the campaign or the raid?
The campaign. Like for how many fragments you drop in the campaign?
Yeah, so you're sort of getting around sort of 2 character fragments, and then for like the bonus gear and that sort of thing, you were getting between 10 to 15 things like ABCs, things in that sort of realm.
Well, I'm talking about after the first completion. I'm talking about the
well, there was enough for an orb, which was sorry, yeah, it felt very similar to last time.
Okay, it did. All right. Well,
yeah, I don't think it was much less.
I think I just got some bad luck then. Dorian, was that about the same experience for you?
So I haven't completed up through 1.9 yet. I'm only at 1.8.
Mm-hmm. So
I can't tell you what the auto win looks like yet, because I don't auto win until I clear as far as I can.
Right. Okay. Well then, yeah, I guess we'll figure that out with time. But hopefully, that was my one concern, I guess, at this point, is that I'm hoping that the drop rates aren't going back to, what was the first one we had? Ant-Man?
Oh, those were horrible.
Yeah. I'm hoping that I'm not going to be seeing that again. But, we'll see. At least with this situation, it makes more sense because we do have the raid to go with it. But it still just never feels good, like what we saw with Ant-Man. So I wouldn't want that aspect of it to come back.
At the same time, though, we all know that's just perception. Like Ant-Man to Wasp, you were getting exactly the same amount of overall orbs. It just didn't feel like it because of the frequency. So, yep, it's all about, my dopamine didn't get poked in the special pleasure button, but you're going to get the same pretty much regardless. But at the tier 1.9, you're going to get about 140 orb shards when you finish that node.
Right. See, that's my thing, though. I like my dopamine button to be hit. That's my thing.
I've heard that about you.
Yeah. So yeah, that's right up my alley. So I liked it whenever they switched it. I knew it was the exact same right off the bat, but it just felt way better. And they've kind of followed that model since, I think. But anyways, so that pretty much does it for the new raid. And by the way, I'm not sure if we mentioned this or not yet, but this appears like it's going to be a kind of a rotating style where whenever we see this again, it's going to be, the next character. I'm not sure if they've mentioned if it's only going to be for characters coming in future campaigns, or if it's going to be like a rotating mode, as in it's always going to be up now and it's just going to be featuring a new character. You guys haven't heard anything, right, from the devs? Because
not at this stage.
I actually messaged them about that, but I didn't hear anything back yet. So I didn't know if you guys heard differently.
But I do have a question about those raid bosses, though. Have you guys seen any of the Thanos or Deadpool shards pop up in any of your orbs yet? I know it was only today that kicked in, but have any of you seen them?
Wait, you guys get premium orbs?
No. I got a 1 Thanos shard in a basic orb this morning.
Oh wow.
Yep. So they are live in the game in orbs now of all kinds, basic, premium, and mega.
That was the other bug I wanted to talk about that ticked me off.
There's a bug there?
There's a bug with the daily logins. The premium orbs, it has been repeating day 1 now since the update, and we did not get day 7.
Wait,
okay, that's strange. I had one weird interaction with that, but that was only when I was using BlueStacks. When I restarted my phone, that went away. So I only had that for about 20 minutes on the very first day. Maybe just do a forced close, mate. But I'm not seeing that as a global issue for people. No.
Really? So you're getting your premium shards every day?
I believe
your premium, the premium fragments.
Right now, so
what day are you on right now? You're
I'm still at day 1.
I'm on day 1 right now too. I haven't.
Oh no, he's actually spot on. No. Yeah, no. On BlueStacks, it's definitely still where it was. They're 25. Okay.
Nobody believes me until they find out I'm right.
Story of your life.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. And people in our chat right now saying the same thing. So yeah, good pickup, Dorian. That was not one that I was aware of.
Yeah, I didn't know that until you mentioned it. So I hope they send something out for that. I'm not sure if maybe one of the resolutions. Oh no, because they haven't resolved it yet. So I guess not.
No, it's not been resolved yet.
Well,
but we're missing a bunch of premium fragment. So
I'm about to message customer service whenever this is done.
Yeah, me too.
And I highly recommend you guys all do the same, because sometimes if you message them about a problem, they'll send you stuff beforehand, and then you'll also get the resolution for it later on. So
yeah, so they didn't send me anything because I've been talking to them since I noticed that the day 7 1000 were gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have not been. Oh, of course I was super nice, dude. It's me.
Okay.
Have you not talked to me? What the hell?
Hey, there's been times like it happened.
Hey, look, I'm passionate. All right, I'm passionate. It's not that I'm throwing shit fits, Chewy.
Whatever you want to call it, passion is fine.
Yeah, let's do this in a public space. That's going to end real well. Because I promise you, that's not a road you want to go down, my brother. You want to unleash the full Chew fury? Fuck, man, we can get into it.
Oh, the podcast was over before it began. All right, then.
But I think that the key with support is definitely you have to come off super nice. Like I'm like, oh, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I know it's really hard to be on the support team, those other guys, right? And try to get buddy with them. Most of the time it works. I've never had really a bad interaction with customer service yet. I pretty much always get whatever I ask for. So that's a plus, but that could just be luck so far, because I've heard some people have some pretty terrible interactions too. But for me, I think that it would be wise to go ahead and send something in about that.
Yeah, I agree.
But all right, well, let's go ahead and we went through. Am I missing anything? We already went through everything, right? I feel like I'm missing something now for as far as the raids are concerned and Venom. No.
No, the stage. It seems obviously next week we'll have a lot more interaction to see how we're going, whether we're clearing 30 to 60%. We'll all have cleared the campaign by then. So I think, we'll expand upon that more next week. I think that's probably a good intro to it all.
Hey, some of us might have cleared the campaign while we were talking.
I think that might have been
professionalism we've come to expect.
Well, yeah, so we'll bypass it. If I remember something, I feel like I'm forgetting something. If I remember it, I'll run back to it. But next, the big thing is we have the mutant origin coming. So a new origin mutant, as well as new mutant gear. have been added into the game. This will affect current and future mutant characters added to the game. Cable, Deadpool, Wolverine, Storm, and Mystique now use mutant gear, which can be earned in campaign missions. So we've already seen the addition of those items into the game, at least on the the green and blue level. I haven't seen any purple yet. Have you guys seen any of the purple items in?
Not the purple, no. Green and blue, yes.
Yeah. So I've seen the green and blue. So those are in there. But if you look at your mutants so far, I'm not sure about whenever this is actually released to everyone, but so far their gear is the same as before. So that part hasn't come yet. I'm assuming they're giving us time to kind of collect more of this stuff, which for the most part is kind of moot because it's the purples that we're going to need the most, I think. Because if you exclude Storm and Mystique, I suppose, the rest of the mutants, chances are people already have them up to a decent level, to close to purple at least. But Chewy, have you been saving up for this at all? Are you prepared?
Yeah, yes and no. So Evan B, who's normally with the live stream here and is a great follower of the show, he actually put in the text there last week, and I don't know why I didn't think about it before, that you should definitely hoard your raid rewards until that launches. That way, when you open your purple orbs or maybe even your orange gear orbs, that you're going to have a lot of that gear, if you get lucky again, sitting there waiting for you. So yes, I actually haven't cashed in any of my raid blue, purple or orange orbs since last week's podcast. Yeah. So yes, I have. And then obviously hoarding the gold as well.
Yeah, that's probably the best move that I've seen so far. I remember him saying that last time, and I agree with that. I've been saving up a little bit as well. Dorian, what about you? Have you been ready for this? I don't know how much effort you put into saving up.
Not a whole lot, mainly because outside of Cable, all mine are tier 9. So the blues and greens I'm not too worried about, because those are just going to come organically, and like you said, through the raid orbs. Though I will admit, I'm buying raid supplies to gear up other teams. But I think that opening those raid orbs is saving those is not a bad idea. I'm very impatient, so it hasn't really worked out for me. I think I tried it for a few days, and that red dot just kept staring at me, and I was seeing it in my sleep, and I was like, hey, this has got to go. So
yeah, I got 52 various raid orbs ready to go right now.
Yeah. Wow. Jeez, you do have a lot saved up, don't you?
Yeah, I got 23 blue, 19 purple gear orbs, 9 orange gear. The only ones I've been opening have been the Thanos.
Oh wow. Well, yeah, that's more than me, that's for sure. But I think, yeah, for anyone that is listening, it's even if you start right now, it's not a bad time. You're never going to be too late. At least you're going to have a little something. It's not going to hurt you really to do so. So that's pretty much all we know. It's been about the same thing, as we've been teased for the past couple of weeks. It's just now they finally actually implemented some of the gear. And, I'm sure you guys probably remember whenever it was first announced to us, they said that here's some gear to go with it. And there was no gear. So they sent out a message like a few hours later, luckily giving us back the gear. I thought mine glitched out or something, but luckily that was not the case.
Actually, you just triggered something in my brain hole, mate. Thank you for that. This is sort of news that disappeared off the planet. Did anyone from you guys, I don't know, I plan on keeping my widow where she is, but do you guys know of anyone that actually tried going through the customer service refund process after we had Black Widow's passive change? Because they did announce that when they announced it the way it was, that if you wanted all of your ability mats back and they wanted to reset her, that you could do that.
Yeah, I remember them saying that, but yeah, I never went through the process, and I actually don't know anyone that did.
Yeah,
and I think it's because
are you guys going to keep her where she is?
I am. Yeah, I mean, I figure why not?
Yeah,
for me, because I mean, she's super useful. It's still useful to a degree, and I'm using her the most out of so many other people, anyways.
True.
So yeah.
Yeah, me too. What about you, Dorian?
So I never upgraded it. So I don't know anybody that's requested to get the refund. I don't know. I mean, it's a 5% speed. I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I use her, she's actually. I only use her in Blitz now. Occasionally, I will use her in Ultima 6 for the nodes following like the Unicorn Guide. The nodes that I try to run typically have, the Avengers with Night Nurse. So, she's useful. Obviously, I mean, she's Black Widow, but I don't run her in Arena, and outside of Blitz, I don't really have much use for her anymore.
You just actually mentioned something that we should have done weeks ago, which is a big shout out to that Unicorn Guide. I mean, those guys did a tremendous effort with such a very, very professional layout. It's very easy to use. If people listening have not seen that, there's a tremendous guide by Raging Unicorn, and I know another couple of guys worked on it, so my apologies for not knowing their names. But you can literally click node by node on the Ultima 6, and they tell you the better teams that they used. And I found just by tweaking one character instead of another with characters that I never even thought would work on that particular node, because I don't usually use them, it really has. I'll give you my example where they've helped me, guys, which is the Red Skull node, switching out Yondu from my OG5 to the Vision, game changer, because you get ability block right off the start.
Yep.
You've got the offense down, so that way if they do get all those AoEs off, half of them are not going to AoE, and the other half are doing it with a fence down. So it's awesome. Then the node after that, in the same lane, which I think lane 6 or lane 7, you have all these hand minions, and Sentry is almost guaranteed to go off. So they actually advise on like node 1 in that lane. You get your Hawkeye out, you get his ultimate ready, and the only other time throughout the entire raid that you bring him back is on that hand node. Because of course, all that stealth, he's going to shoot and get people out of stealth. He's going to dispel. But more importantly, it's about turn 1, getting that blind up on as many of their guys as you can. So the first day, I only got 1 blind successfully, but still cleared it. But I lost Hawkeye. Yesterday, I blinded more than half of them. And it was such a cakewalk, it wasn't funny. So I found it really useful. Have you guys had your performance improve since you started using that guide?
It's getting late.
What?
I think he's hinting at a different kind of performance.
Oh wow! I can't even believe you went there. I didn't even know
that's the
that.
second time. This is the most well-behaved I have ever been on any podcast I've guested.
The first time,
and the guy who's normally like knuckle deep in my ass about behaving is now the one that is fucking going the worst. It's great. I love it, Dorian. We're corrupting you slowly but surely.
No. Oh, that's right. You weren't part of the conversation. Hebrew knows. Hebrew's fully aware. Yeah. I just keep it clean for the podcast.
He puts on a good front. Yeah, he puts on a good front. But I remember something, a funny picture he sent from one of his buddies the other day. That was whenever I knew. I was like, okay, all right, I get this.
One of those guys that's all like clean as a whistle up front, but then you pull the wrong book out of a bookshelf, and all of a sudden there's a sex dungeon door opening.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't have to. There's no door for that.
Okay.
That's his whole house.
It's just it's straight in.
Well, yeah. For this, back to this before we go too far down that tunnel. I think that with guys, I already see private messages going. But yeah, I think. All right, sorry. So yeah, the Raging Unicorns thing. I think that was. That was amazing. They did such a good job. I honestly don't know why they didn't monetize it to some degree or like put on a Patreon. Maybe they do have a Patreon. I'm not sure. If they do, look for it and definitely contribute because they did an amazing job. It was incredibly professional. And it was definitely something that you guys should at least look at because, yeah, it will increase your game. That's for sure. For me, it helped out a lot on figuring out what are some of the best people to bring in for specific nodes, just as Chewy was saying. So yeah, it was very good. I can't believe I'm the one that's being the dad here pretty much tonight. Like I'm having to rally us in. All right. So Dorian, did it help you at all?
Yeah. So I was able to work on some of because I was able to work on some nodes because, like I said, we're just clearing 30. So we'll hit 34, 35. But this was a big help because I was taking like the 200 and 300K lanes, like up the middle at the front. So it really helped me kind of think about things a little bit differently. And like the performance, the videos and everything just really was top notch and helped out.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was some really good stuff. All right, well, let's
And
go
if
ahead.
I can, real quick, because this was a shout out, I also forgot to mention earlier while he was in the stream listening. Thanks to Creative Name, who joined us as a patron during the show. So thank you for that.
Oh wow, yeah, thanks, buddy. I appreciate that.
Yeah, really appreciate it, man. Good on you.
Yeah, I saw him mention something about that in the chat earlier. Now I know why.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
he did.
buddy.
He joined us. He joined us in the show. I meant to give him a shout out, but we were on the data mines. I didn't want to interrupt.
Yeah.
So I
So he drew a donation for more filthy Dorian. Is that what's happened between the start of the show and now? Is that how we got to this point?
If you want more
Great,
filthy
thank you.
Dorian, vote with your dollar.
Donate
people.
now. Why did we not say that as a tier? Yeah.
I will say one phrase of choice every week. No,
Oh,
no,
please,
that's
please.
that's the buy me the compass arm tier.
Man, I'm gonna go become a patron the day that we do that. I'm gonna give you the weirdest shit today. Oh my god.
I feel like Dorian might be the final boss in all of those movies where it's like he's on the good side the entire time, and then at the last second he pulls a 180 on you, and you're like, wait, what the hell? And he's like, yeah. Bad guy. Been waiting for us at the bottom this entire time. All right, well, let's go ahead and move on. Otherwise, we could stay on this for a very long time.
We're not getting through this show.
Yeah, this is going to be a while. All right, so we have donations next. So Alliance donations are here. Members can now donate gold and power cores in exchange for Alliance credits and Alliance experience. Now, I'm going to go ahead and read the next part as well because they go together pretty much. So we have the Stark Tech as well. Introducing Stark Tech, permanent stat increases to the characters of an origin of your choice that are purchased with Alliance credits. Level up your Alliance by earning Alliance experience to unlock increasingly powerful Stark Tech upgrades. So basically what happens is everyone in your Alliance donates 10,000 gold every 24 hours as a minimum, or you can upgrade it to, what were the tiers? It was 150 and then 500 cores. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, 150 then 500, yeah. And then 10K gold.
Right. And the original is 10K. And once you do that, you get experience, and as you get more experience, you unlock more boxes, and those boxes hold the Alliance credits, as well as whenever you donate, you also get Alliance credits. So all those credits will buy you the Stark Tech, which give you upgrades to a particular origin of your choosing. It is damage, HP, armor, focus, and resistance. So Chewy, actually no, Dorian, Filthy Dorian. Let's start with you.
Filthy Dorian.
Filthy Dorian.
So one of the really nice things was what we figured out was if everybody in the Alliance does the 10K gold, which isn't horrible, you'll get the you'll get the first 3. To get the next ones, everybody's got to do the 154 basically, and then to get the last one, I think everybody's got to do the 504. It's those last 2 boxes are kind of ridiculous on the requirements. I think we're gonna pick a day where we do like everybody. Hey, if you're okay with this, we're all gonna do like the 154 one day a week to just try to help advance levels.
It's not a bad idea.
So that's kind of where we're kind of mulling through that right now.
How do you think that they handled? You know, a lot of people were really worried about this. How do you think it was handled overall?
So I'm of 2 minds about it. I like the fact that it is accessible to the free to play, in the fact that you can use the gold requirements are not hard, right? That 10K gold's like nothing. Just do one refresh of a Nexus node and you've got that. So I like that you get enough to at least do 1 or 2 abilities every day. So in that regard, I think they knocked it out of the park. I think they made it accessible to everybody with minimal investment. What I don't like was the 500 core refresh, the 500 core for the large extra purchase, the 150 core That's just a rich get richer type of scenario again, which is just it's so rampant in this game. I think it could have been done better. I think that they should have maxed it out so that you couldn't refresh. Maybe. I mean, if you want people to drop 500 cores a day, probably got to have at it. But to be able to refresh for the 500 cores on top of that just felt like too much of a grab for me. I like the system though. When we actually start talking about the Star Tech, I like that system.
Right. Well, Chewy, what about you?
Yeah, let me start with, I guess, a counterpoint to what we just said there. I think that it's so expensively priced for the refreshers that I don't have a problem with Wales being able to access this a little bit sooner, because it's not, I don't think many of them are going to do it, to be honest. There's so much other things right now that you get much bigger benefits on in a variety of ways, unless they change bigger bonuses for higher alliances. So yeah, I'm not too fussed with that. Our guild's kind of got a policy at the moment that everyone has to do the 10K every day as a minimum. And then, yeah, I'm one of the ones that's spending the cores on the 150 though, because we're getting enough currency through from the week, and I'm getting enough through Arena right now that it's just that little bump that helps our guild progress a little bit further. I like the way that it was rolling out, because it's basically a staged increase in stats of teams that you're actually choosing to use. No one will be surprised to find out I'm going all in on skill right now to max out that Fury team and a couple of members of some of my other squads. It seems like with the cadence of how frequently you're being given that energy, and obviously it's going to take a little while to move up, or tickets, I should say, not energy, and how long it's going to take you to move up alliance levels to get to the next tier. It seems to me like they want you to kind of pick 2 different factions at a time. And then there you can sort of max out both of those. Everyone else takes a little bit of hit. So right now I'm debating whether or not to go for skill and tech. My gut's telling me I'm probably going to stay with skill, but I may actually wait, save up those tickets, and then once we have the mutants going live, if they look as good as I think they may be, I think I might just go dump everything into mutants and level them up, because that's going to be a great villains team. And I said before that my villains are not fantastic. So I really like it. I think it's a great passive side system. You're not having to spend a bunch of time. You're not having to spend a lot if you don't want to. And yeah, it'll help us get more powerful in the teams that we want to sooner.
Right. So I actually really agree with you on this one, Chewy, because I kind of have the same opinion whenever it comes to how they handled it. I think that they did a really good job here. I thought that it was going to be one hell of a balancing act that they had to put off, and I think that they did, because I think that the prices are high enough that it's, some people are going to do it, some wells are going to do it, but that's fine. The thing is that they're not getting a lot for it, and I think that that's key in games like these, is that you have to make, and although it kind of sucks for the whales, it keeps balance in the game. If you make something so ridiculously expensive that it doesn't make any sense to buy it for what you get, because it's such a little advantage, they get their money, the guys get a little bit of an advantage, but not as much of an advantage to really affect over everyone else. So, the cost of that later tier, and especially the refresh, is absurdly expensive. So I think it's actually really nice the way it is. And it's, the second refresh I was even more impressed of, because I thought 150, I was like, you know what? Not that bad. I'm not going to do it personally, maybe every once in a while if we all agree to do it. But yeah, I mean, I think 150, it's nothing terrible. I can recover that from, just passively getting cores. So I was a really big fan of that. And I like how they worked the start tech. I feel like I'm always getting a lot of credits, which is important. I'm a big proponent of, as long as you make me feel like I'm doing well in the game, then I'm going to keep playing it. As long as I always feel like I'm getting something. And for this, I feel like my effort has good payoff here. And especially only for 10,000 gold. I was really glad that they kept it at something so reasonable, and you pretty much get it all back anyways. So yeah, and the cost for these things are great. Now, it does increase a good bit as you go up, correct? I saw the stat for that somewhere, the chart for that somewhere.
For the refresh, I haven't actually looked at
it. No, to buy the start tech.
Right, to buy the start tech.
So I think it does, but those benefits get really nice.
Yes, they absolutely do. I mean, you go up to, once you max out, 20% on everything, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's huge. And I saw a couple of complaints about it on Reddit. Overall, overwhelming support for the system, but I did see a few complaints where they were saying like, well, I'm doing all this for almost nothing. Like, what is 1%? And you got to remember, this is going to stack up, and it's going to end up being like 20%, which is massive. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the system, and I thought that they did an excellent job implementing it, and I'm really excited about it. So that's my take on it. So we do have to hurry it up a little bit, so we don't have another 4-hour situation on our hands. So let's go ahead and jump forward to the Synergy UI. The pre-battle squad select screen now shows how each character synergizes with the rest of the squad. Press down on the Synergy icon to learn more about the bonuses those squad mates provide. This was something I actually didn't expect to like that much, or I didn't expect to care about it, but I was actually a pretty big fan. I don't know if anyone remembers, but Irish actually was just like, whatever, like, focus on bringing out the folders first for the blitz, which I do agree with. I think that was more important than this, but he was just like, I don't care about this, and I don't think it's necessary. I didn't think it was necessary either, but I gotta be honest, it's pretty cool. They did a pretty good job on the system, I thought. Chewy, what did you think?
Yeah, I think it's a nice little bonus. I mean, a couple of times I've clicked through going, oh, what's the interaction for those two characters again? Oh, yeah, that's right. So it's a handy little reminder for teams that you don't use very frequently. For example, I saw a 1 or 2 with Kree when I had someone else in there. It might have been Ronan. So, yeah, it's a nice little reminder. Again, it wasn't something I asked for or wanted, but I think a positive UI change nevertheless.
Right. And then, Dorian, what about you? Did you like it?
Yeah, it's okay. It's a little off. For example, if I have like Thanos and Yondu both in a squad, but Yondu is on the other side, it still shows synergy with Thanos, even though Thanos is not going to technically give him any benefit, right? So I think there's still a little tweaking they could do to this to make it better, so that it actually works with like the adjacent enemies or adjacent allies the way it's supposed to. But yeah, it's really fun, especially if you load up that Defenders team, because I think they get like 9.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, I was actually a big fan of that too. I saw someone said I think it was actually the MSF team on Reddit was like, for shits and giggles, go ahead and put on the Defenders and watch what happens, and like the whole screen lights up. Yeah. It was great. Do you guys think it's a little too handholdy for newer players? Like it kind of, it allows them to kind of not really worry about finding synergy on their own and really paying attention to those kind of things? Or do you think that's not really going to matter?
Well, you'd have to like preload the team in to actually figure out if that synergy was there with this methodology. So no, not really. You still have to want to test that team as an example to find that on that screen with those notifications. So no, I think it's great for new players. If anything, saves them from having to figure out some of the things that perhaps it took us a little bit longer to do so. But there's not really that many weird combinations in this game. Like that's one of the things I don't like about Strike Force, which there's not many of, is that many teams you're going to face the same things over and over and over again in the same combinations. Very rarely is that outside character where you go, why are they using that? And then you get smashed and you're like, oh, okay, that's why.
Yeah, actually, I agree with you on that. That's why I kind of liked the idea of having synergy with one specific character, because it made you able to piece them out a little bit more into other teams and create different combinations. And that's one thing I wish that they did a little more of. We just saw one with, I think it was Daredevil and Punisher, like a little bit of something with that. I think it was every time whenever Punishers hit, every time whenever Daredevils hit, Punisher will attack. Is that correct? Dorian, you would know.
Yeah, when you get his passive up all the way.
Yeah. So yeah, I like that they did that, and I hope that they do more stuff like that, because I'm a fan of that as well. It makes the game a little more strategic, and you have to think a little more about team comps. All right. So that being said, the next one, pretty simple. Level 70 is coming soon. Basically,
yeah, we talked about this one.
As the title said, level 70 is coming soon. Just get ready for it. And that pretty much takes care of all of the updates. So now we can go ahead and move on to the fun stuff. We have the grab bag next. So the grab bag is a section where people chime in on the Discord and ask some questions that they want to be called out during the podcast so we can give some answers to. So we only have enough time for just like one or two or maybe even three, but let's see what happens here. So this one is from Squirrel Girl. I appreciate the extra flexibility that 7 lanes grants alliances, but we've been struggling on how to most fairly balance rewards when there are 8 members per team. No one wants to always be cleanup. Have any suggestions on sharing the load? Love the show. Thanks. Dorian, why don't you go ahead and answer that one?
Yeah, so when that one came through, you would pick the hardest one to put in here. The one that takes the most time to really answer. So I think what it really comes down to is that you just have to kind of decide as an alliance of, okay, we have our lane assignments. We know that this person's going to be kind of a floater, and you kind of rotate that floater, right? So that that person isn't always doing that. So when we were doing the Thanos raid, I got Thanos to 6 stars, and I was like, you know what? I was able to hit like, top 3, 4, 5 in the alliance for the raid. And I'm like, I'm gonna back off a bit. We're still gonna hit our goal, but now I'm gonna slow down so that others have an opportunity to go up. And you have to be able to do that in these types of games, because while yes, there is personal growth, you also have to worry about the growth of everybody in the alliance at the same time. Because if you get disproportionate, it gets really bad. So I think just working out a schedule of, hey, today's your day, today's my day, whatever, so that you know when you're gonna hit the spare nodes or whatever. I think that's the best way to do it. Or if you have people that just aren't as participatory, you make them the floater person to just hit wherever.
Yeah, I think actually you hit the nail on the head with that one. We'll go ahead and move on from that. But yeah, I think that's the best and kind of only real advice that you can give to that is just you want to switch it up a bit and make sure that that person isn't always stuck in that position. So let's go ahead and move to the next one. This is from Grant Dayton. And it says, how are you guys managing Stark Tech? Focusing on your arena characters, raid sustainability, or hoarding for now? Would love to hear how everyone is approaching this. Thanks. For me, I'll go ahead and put my 2 cents here. I am focusing on bio, actually. I think the correct route, for the most part, if everyone has kind of been improving meta champions, sorry, I used LOL reference there, improving meta superheroes, I think that tech would be the best route because it's the most stacked with all of the powerhouse characters right now. But for me, since I don't have Vision, I think is the reason why people should go into tech, because Vision is an amazing character in game, but he's garbage in the MCU. I think that you should
Lies.
go. I think that for me, it was the best route to do bio instead. So I went ahead and upgraded bio, and then I'm saving the rest because I think I'm going to go mutants, but I as well am waiting to see what happens with Brotherhood. But I'm pretty sure one way or the other I'm going to put into mutants because I like who's coming out in Brotherhood, and I might just plant my flag on that ship, whether they're bad or not. So we'll see what happens. But I don't think that they will be bad at all because they're shaping up to be a pretty amazing team as far as the characters that are coming out for them. So, Dorian, what about you?
So I went arena and pretty much raid. So I've actually been focusing on 2 because I've not been worried too much about the focus and resistance, mainly because my teams don't really do a whole lot there. I went with Mystic and Tech. So because of how powerful my Thanos is, he's the tank of choice for me. So I did obviously I wanted the health and the armor, and got him up to 2% now. And then obviously I did go the tech with the health, damage, and armor. So all 3 of those have been going. So yeah, I like the Mystic and Tech combo. I run those guys in raid sometimes too. So it helps me out there as well.
Yeah, I think that it's one thing that I saw from, I don't know if any of you guys have seen, but Tony Bing did a video over this. And one of the things that he mentioned was, regardless of what team you're investing in, what you should try to do is look at that origin and see who you are going to be using most and what their commonality is. And if it's mostly tanks, for instance, in bio that you see, you want to focus more on that HP and armor stat, because that's where they're going to get the biggest benefit from that percentage.
Yep.
So that's just kind of a good rule of thumb that I think we all kind of touched on anyways. But all right, well, we already know what Chewy's doing. So unless, do you have anything to add, Chewy?
No, not at this stage, mate. Just covered that before.
All right, yeah. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. And this one is by Flip Van. And he says, what quality of life improvements are you guys expecting or should be of highest priority for the devs to have added in the next update? Ju, why don't you go ahead and pick this one up for us?
Yeah, I think everyone's been asking for the same thing, and that is for the pre-save teams in Blitz, so that way that you can go through. We know that they're working on this. We know that it's expected, but not for at least the next month or two. Other than that, there's a lot of little things, but that's probably the main one for me right now. If they get that pre-save teams, that's going to save a lot of time. That's what I want the most.
Yeah, for me, I same exact thing. But I do think it should be said that they apparently, from what Casino said, he said that they are for sure, since it didn't come out this time. Well, 99% sure it is going to be coming out in the next update. So just be aware it is supposed to be coming, and it's an incredibly high chance of that happening. Dorian, what about you? Do you have anything different?
No, I think that's the one that's on everybody's wish list right now.
Yeah, I'd agree. All right, well then that was our grab bag. Make sure to join our Discord or Twitter or anything basically, and shout out some questions at us, and we can go ahead and add them next time if you guys are interested. And so let's move over to the character spotlight. So this week, of course, we have Venom. We couldn't not do Venom. So let's go ahead and get right into his kit. But first, we're going to actually start with a little bit of lore from him. So Venom was hatched from a clutch of eggs in the distant past on the planet Clintar. It was discovered by Kree explorers and was first bonded to a Kree soldier. After a time, it was imprisoned on Battle World, where it was discovered by Deadpool, who was its first human host for a few minutes. Deadpool quickly removed the symbiote, where it was discovered minutes later by Spider-Man, who bonded with it. After Spider-Man rejected the symbiote, when it tried to take him over after returning to Earth, it spent several months recovering before bonding with Deadpool again. After Deadpool rejected it, the symbiote returned to Our Lady of Saints Church, where it then discovered and bonded with Eddie Brock, who was at the time dying from adrenal cancer and contemplating suicide. And that is actually the retconned, Dorian, am I right on this one? This is the retconned history of Venom. That originally was not the case, but they added that in with Deadpool, correct?
Correct. Yeah, so they added that in with Deadpool, I want to say in 2015 maybe, in the Deadpool Secret War storyline.
Okay, so that's pretty cool. And apparently that is the current storyline that they're following right now in the comic book world. And
yes.
So I think that it kind of pulls from this a little bit. So let's go ahead and jump down. Oh, his first appearance, by the way, was on Amazing Spider-Man number 252 in May 1984. That was the historically the first release of him. So let's start with his base stats. His health is at 94,500. His damage is at 5,804. His armor is at 378. His focus is at 1,302, and his resistance is at 1,302 as well. So first we have Maul, which is his basic, and it attacks the primary target for 230% damage, and it applies bleed for 1 turn, and it flips 2 positive effects to negative effects, and it also cannot be dodged. That's very important. Next we have Violate, which is his special, and this attacks the primary target for 330% damage. It applies ability block, and that is that for 2 turns that he applies ability block?
No, I think it's just 1 turn.
1 turn? Okay. Applies ability block for 1 turn and applies 3 stacks of bleed. Next, we have Corruption, which is the ultimate, and it attacks the primary target for 180% damage and adjacent targets for 140% damage. It applies heal block for 2 turns to primary and adjacent targets, and it spreads all negative effects from the primary target to all adjacent targets. However, it will not spread stun. Next, we have Symbiosis, which is his passive, which on turn, it heals for 15% of the character's max health. If your health is greater than 95%, you gain defense up for 2 turns. And on top of that, if Spider-Man is present on the battlefield, you gain 100% focus. So far, the good strategic team-ups for this character is especially Spider-Man, and then also Scarlet Witch, Mordo, and Doctor Strange. They synergize very well with him. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about how you feel his kit plays out in the Dorian, let's start with you.
So yeah, I don't have him unlocked yet, so I've only got to use the campaign, obviously, where he's really well maxed out, and I gotta say his kit plays really well. I was a little worried that it was gonna be really kind of because it's so debuff dependent that unless his focus was going to be really high, that those there's a good chance of those being resisted. But it maxed out, he's at 1302. That's really good. He hits well. He does a lot of things here. Especially that flipping the positives to negatives. That's boy, I hate to say it. That's kind of a Luke Cage killer.
Yeah.
We talked about this. We talked about this pre-show. About how that's really kind of because he gets like 6 buffs at one point. That this really is just it's gonna be nasty for him. And honestly, against the Fury teams too.
Yeah, I think that we will be seeing it a decent bit with Fury, or against Fury rather, which is a good segue for Chewie to chime in. What about you?
Yeah, I really like his kit. I think he's going to be a strong raid character. I don't think he's going to be as effective in Blitz or in Arena, just because he's just so very slow to get going. And to get the real benefits, you almost want to give the opposition the time to build up so that you can then throw it in their face. I actually think he may be one of the hard counters if we end up with a really bad Ultron node. Because you can go in, you can flip everything that he's got on himself and then just pull it apart. So I think that in a raid, he's definitely more beneficial. But yeah, I don't think he's going to be taken on Fury in Arena just because he's so slow and Fury is so fast. I agree that Luke Cage or just about any tank that gives himself defense ups or anything like that, he's going to make them pay for that very, very badly. And then you get someone spreading or extending the duration on that. But the reason I think he's going to be the Ultron killer the most, I don't know if you guys have seen in Ultron's kit, he actually has on his, I think it's his passive, that every time he gets a kill, all villain tech characters extend the length of their buffs that are on themselves for a period of time. So if they went on a killing spree on some of your minions, for example, and they've just extended the duration of all their buffs by, let's say, 2 or 3 turns, and then you flip that, and then spread that to characters nearby, you can potentially take out 2 or 3 characters, or in a very, very heavily packed raid node, maybe even 8 to 9 with bleeds, debuffs, defense downs, you name it. So in the right situation, in a perfect storm, I think he can really do some cool things, but it's his speed that makes him unbelievably less usable than he could be.
I actually really agree with that. His speed, he's not... correct me if I'm wrong. He's faster than Thor. He's slightly faster than Thor.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's pretty slow. He's definitely on the slower end, but he's luckily not terribly slow. But yeah, that being said, he does have a very interesting kit. I like what they were doing with him. I don't think he's game breaking in the slightest bit, but I think he brings a lot to the table in the right comp. But yeah, I think that, especially with Ultron, what we're seeing, I think that it's no coincidence that we see him released at the same time as New Ultron, because honestly, New Ultron's so hard to deal with, and Venom really does have a good kit to go up against it. So just as you said, Joey, yeah, I think that he's very good in particular team comps and circumstances, but overall the limiting factor for him is his speed. But that being said, he's also just a really fucking cool character. Like, I did not think I was going to like him nearly as much as I did, because I've never been a huge Venom guy, but man, I don't know. His model looks cool. His kit is really cool. I feel it just kind of feels like Venom overall, like the whole corrupting aspect to it and gaining back health and stuff like that. I don't know. It's just really cool. Plus, I think the upgrade for his Violate supposedly will give 3 bleed stacks for 2 turns, which is also pretty nice. So, it's a potential good upgrade option. There's definitely a lot of other people that I'm sure will be far in front of him, but at least he has a decent option for an upgrade. So, yeah, overall, I think that as long as you remember the good team-ups, which were Spider-Man, Scarlet Witch, Mordo, and Doctor Strange, a lot of those people get, especially, Scarlet Witch and Mordo, man, really all of them. Yeah, they're all very good to team up with. So as long as you kind of pair them up correctly, I really think that you can do a lot of damage and really screw over a lot of teams for a really long time. But as you also said, I think you won't really see him too much in Arena and Blitz. It'll be more of a raid exclusive kind of thing.
So you guys were talking about his speed, and while I admit that it's definitely slow, it's a heck of a lot faster than Thor. Thor's at 80 speed, and Venom's at 93.
Yeah, so I didn't realize Thor was that much lower, but yeah, he's faster than Thor, but he's still not crazy fast.
He's not crazy fast.
The slightest bit.
He's
slower.
If you've got, say, for example, a Black Widow in there that's going to give him speed up, that's pretty nice. That's going to be a big benefit for him.
Yeah, so it's not just about his base speed, but you got to add to the fact that he only becomes useful unless you've got an energy feeder to him, and you get lucky that he's only going to start becoming useful on his 2nd turn, and he's going to be the most effective on his 3rd turn. So a slow character who is going to be the most effective on their 3rd turn, and we've seen how easy it is to shut down a Thor. We've seen how easy it is to shut down a Crossbones when they have multiple turns before they get to do the thing that they're meant to do. It's very easy to counter that. And that's, again, why I think for Raid, when you have that time and the fact he has his own self-sustain, I think he's fantastic. I think he's going to be quite good there, right? He's going to be very reliable. And on some of those really challenging nodes, you can make them pay for it. I'd love to see how reliable this is against a Thanos, for example. But you don't have the time to do those sort of things in an arena or a raid unless you're going to pair him with, say, JJ or someone like that, and then just really, really hope that energy goes to him.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think he really is going to be good for raids. That's for sure. Because raids just going so long, you have so many waves that it can be applicable many, many times. So yeah, I'm really thinking that he's going to be a really good character for that. But yeah, you just got to pair him well. He's faster than Thor, but he's just not that fast. He's slow.
Yeah, he's right around Supreme Scientist. She's 97.
Yeah.
One thing to note, though, his resistance or his focus with Spider-Man is doubled.
Yeah.
He is now another one of the few characters that can clear Thanos' taunt.
Oh yeah, that's good to know then. Yeah, as long as Spider-Man's on the field, yeah.
As long as Spider-Man's on the field, he'll be able to flip the taunt. From Thanos.
Yeah, perfect for his kit. So yeah, that's good. But all right, well, so that pretty much does it for unless someone has something else to add about him. Are you guys all good?
Yeah, since we're doing a character spotlight, just one thing I wanted to add in for a little bit of fun is obviously sometimes when a character has been represented in a medium that perhaps people do like or don't like. I guess what I wanted to mention is obviously he has been featured in a movie once before, and that was in Spider-Man 3 when we still had Tobey Maguire, which was easily one of the worst comic book movies that we've seen in the last couple of decades. And Topher Grace playing Eddie Brock was easily one of the worst castings I've ever seen for a comic book movie. And the representation all throughout that of Venom was just so unbelievably poor. You guys have both seen Spider-Man 3?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I think I own it.
Oh, yeah?
Wait, you liked it?
It's hard. No, it's hard to find a Marvel movie that I don't own.
But did you like it? I missed.
Oh, God, no.
Okay,
No.
good.
I thought
about to say, I was
there
like,
were good
wow.
parts to it, but no, I did not like that movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you like his portrayal of Venom or no?
No. Look, I was a Topher fan, with at the
Mhm.
'70s show and all that.
Right.
But Eddie, as Eddie Brock in Venom, I think he captured some of the menace that or some of the the anger that Eddie Brock had.
Hmm.
But I don't feel that he captured. I don't think Venom captured Venom.
Right.
So
Okay. I can understand that. I
And
think
how are you feeling about the way that Tom Hardy looks like he's shaping up to play Venom?
I'll be honest, I have not seen but maybe one trailer a while back. I haven't seen that enough to really give you an answer on that.
I would have figured you'd be all over that.
Life's been busy, man.
Yeah, for me, I am not a fan of Topher. Like I thought he did terribly in that role, and God, I mean that whole movie was just a disaster. That whole emo thing. Oh my
Oh, the
God!
dancing
I
down the
couldn't.
street. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
so crap.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I literally like I couldn't handle it. I was like, oh my God, this is like embarrassing that this is a movie right now.
Yeah.
It was terrible. Um, have you guys? Point of order. Have you guys seen the YouTube video of him doing that without sound?
Yeah.
No.
That is it's hilarious. It's a really funny watch, and it is so ridiculous. It just highlights how ridiculous that whole scene was. But yeah, the whole thing, it was just absolutely ridiculous, and I'm not a fan of it. The Tom Hardy version is, to me, not shaping up to be any good at all. I do not have the knowledge of Venom as a comic book portrayal that you guys do, but I am a huge fan of Tom Hardy. But man, I gotta say, I don't have a lot of faith in this one. This looks pretty bad. So,
Is it okay that I'm worried that we're going to hear Bane?
that we're gonna hear. I mean, it's fair to be like a little on edge about that because it's hard to even see him in as a villain role, or granted he's not like a villain, anti-hero. It's hard to see him in another role outside of that in a superhero setting when he's
Right.
not Bane. So yeah, I'm not sure if I'll be able to take him. Yeah, I mean, overall, I don't know if I'll be able to take him seriously in the role. Come to think of
Yeah.
it.
Look, I'm
Puts
big.
right for it.
I think I've shared with you guys. I'm a huge entertainment junkie,
Mhm.
and like I'm opening night Star Wars. I'm opening night Marvel. I don't want spoilers. I want to go in and have a full immersion experience. And this one, I'm like, I'll see it when I see it.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I'm left with this one. I'm not excited to see this like I am for most Marvel movies. It's just, I don't know. And I've loved everything that Tom Hardy has ever done, pretty much. I think he's an amazing actor. So for me to say that like I'm just like not interested in this movie as a Marvel movie,
Right.
it kind of blows my own mind. But
Yeah.
what about you, Chewy? What do you think about him doing this role?
Look, I think if anyone's going to pull this off, I think he's the right fit, the right look for Eddie Brock. I think that's the more important thing. I think he's going to be able to pull off the Eddie Brock thing, depending on what script they gave him. I'm worried doing it as a standalone and not really having any of those supporting characters you've come to expect from a Venom storyline. Whether or not it's going to be something that's interesting enough, and it's not going to be part of the MCU, is it? It's a Sony standalone, right?
Yeah,
Well,
I
it's part
think
of the
it's going.
Spider-Verse that they're building.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be like in the same universe as like Spider-Man, but Spider-Man's in the MCU.
Yeah, I know, but they talked about how they want to do a Spider-Man-less Spider-Verse. So I think they're building up the Spider-Verse of everyone that they own in the Spider-Verse without Spider-Man now. So I'm not sure what the situation is on that, but I think Venom is the big character that they're,
because we
they're
know
using
they're
to kick it
building up
off.
to do a Sinister Six. That conversation's been happening
Yeah.
for a while, and that's
Right.
why those post-credit scenes with the Vulture were sort of so hinted at. And then him meeting with, was it Shocker or Scorpion in the prison? I can't remember. I think it might have been
Scorpion.
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 Yeah.
It was Scorpion because he had the tat.
So they're sort of setting their way up for that, which would be pretty cool. But you'd have to think you have to get Spider-Man back to actually do that for a standalone movie, which I'm sure that Marvel would let him out if it was the right script and everything. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see.
Yeah, here's my thing. I just don't know how you can have a Venom movie without Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually like okay with them doing that. I think if they do it right or did it right, because I'm not putting much hope in it at this point, but if they did it right, I think that it could work, and I would be interested to see how they make it play out. But I don't know. In this context, I'm just not a fan. Like I think the biggest thing for me is the scripting. I think it was terribly scripted. Like the wording for everything is horrible, and it sounds so campy. It took me out of it whenever I was watching. I was just like, this is the cheesiest thing I've ever seen.
So my problem with it is we've got Venom who draws abilities from Spider-Man, who looks like Spider-Man without having been, without having Spider-Man as a host. Wait,
yeah, that's a good point.
That's my whole thing with Spider-Man, right? Because the only reason why Venom is because of Spider-Man and now Deadpool. But originally it was all because of Spider-Man, right? And then some of the Eddie Brock stuff. But I just don't see how they're going to do it without Spider-Man.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I mean, it's tough. I'm hoping that, I guess they aren't going to be able to put that in anyway, because we've already kind of seen how it's brought in from the commercials. But so I don't think they have much room to really play with that. But I would hope that they would make some excuse for that being that happening before, and then they found the symbiote or something. I don't know how they're going to work it, but you're right. Without that, it really doesn't make any sense that he has those powers.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, look, here's how lethargic I am about this. I have free movie tickets and I'm not going to go see it.
Yeah.
I'm going to take my kids to go see Clock in the Walls.
I already saw that, by the way.
Hey, no spoilers.
No spoilers, but Jack Black, everything he makes, that man gets a pass for life from me. Anything he makes, I will see it no matter what.
Have you seen Goosebumps?
Yeah.
Oh, that was amazing. That was so good.
I actually did not like it at all.
Really? I thought he did really good, the author.
So I read the Goosebumps, or not all of them, but I read a decent bit of the Goosebumps books back in the day, and I really liked them. I don't remember a lot of them now, but I do remember there being a good amount of fidelity to them. But for some reason, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, I'm older and I don't have kids, so it's harder to put myself back in that kid perspective. So it was definitely more geared towards a younger audience, I think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I watched it with my kids. I never read the books.
Okay.
And I think my kids may have read a few, but they, we enjoyed it just for what it was.
Right. Yeah. So I think that you have a better kind of mindset to be able to go into that, having kids. So for me, it was too cheesy at some points, but I'm aware that that's probably why. And I kind of felt the same way with this movie. But sorry, this is turning into a movie review. But I kind of felt the same way with this movie, The Clock in the Walls. But it's...
Yeah, I'm looking forward to going to see it. So
yeah, I got some good reviews. So I mean, I would still go and see it. But sorry, that being said, so Chewy, you gonna see it or not? Are you gonna go and see it or not?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna see it for sure. I mean, it's been a little while since the last superhero movie now, so yeah, definitely going to see that.
All right, and you are not going, correct, Dorian?
I probably will. I may before it leaves theaters. We'll see. Okay. It's actually one of those movies. I'm just okay.
Right. So I'm basically in the same position, but probably a little more interested in seeing it quickly. So I probably will find some time to go and make sure that I see it, but I'm not super excited about it, that's for sure. But well, I guess let everyone know how it goes whenever we do. When does it come out again? It comes out
October.
I'm not sure exactly what date in the
5th?
US.
Yeah, it's soon, obviously, but I don't remember the day exactly. It sounds like we're being sponsored by this movie. No, actually, it definitely doesn't, because we just shit all over it.
Yeah, we did. We did just kind of say no.
Yeah. Like what? Well, when does that movie
see.
come out again? Make sure you check it out.
October 5th.
October 5th.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's coming up. All right. Well, in that case, let's go ahead and move on to the next segment so we can wrap this puppy up. So that's going to be the patron segment of the week. Now, for the patron segment of the week, this is whenever patrons of a particular tier level are able to ask us a question that's on their mind, and we guarantee that they're going to be able to bring it in the show. So for this week, it is brought to us by Kane76, and he asks, if you could pull any character from any universe into the game, for example, DC or Transformers, etc., who would it be? And Dorian, let's go ahead and start off with you.
Wow. So, man, this one's is a really good question, because there's so much out there. There's so much out there. It's like, how do you pick just one?
Oh, don't name as many as you like.
Yeah, I got like 5 in the bank that I'm going to spew out.
So let's say top 5.
Okay.
Batman's in there.
Yep.
I
rank
would
him
love
though.
to
Rank
see...
him. Try to rank him.
Ooh, Batman. So Batman was probably number 1 for me, simply because outside of Marvel, he's my favorite superhero.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to see Batman come into the game. Harry Potter would be really cool. He'd probably be number 2, just for what they might be able to do with him with a whole mystic. And we definitely need more mystic characters. Let's see, number 3. Boy, it's just so many. I'd love to see Lord of the Rings. I mean, you can just bring in anybody from Lord of the Rings. Gandalf. Let's just pull in Gandalf.
That'd be pretty cool.
Gandalf, again, mystic, would just be absolutely awesome. I'd like to see
villain tank Balrog.
Yeah, the villain tank Balrog. There you go. Let's see. I forget her name. Ghost in the Shell. She would be. She would be awesome. Cool. Not the Scarlett Johansson version. I've heard that wasn't that good. Let's see. Oh, I'd love to see Veritech fighters. Not the pilots, but Veritech fighters. I don't know if you guys ever saw Robotech.
I don't even know what that is.
Robotech.
Oh, Robotech. Oh man, that's a big.
I don't know that. Was that before me? I feel like that was before
the very first generation would 100% be before you.
Yeah, it was in the 80s.
Oh yeah, no.
But I think it's available on Netflix or Hulu.
Yeah, probably too old for me.
No, dude. Robotech is amazing, and there's shower scenes. It's rated MA.
But I really want to see shower scenes. I think I can find a better place to find some shower scenes. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, look, whatever I can do to help entice you. Yeah. So I think thinking. I mean, I wanted to pull some obvious ones from the Transformers, but I think I'm going to stick with those.
Okay.
Who would you bring in if you're going to bring in 2 Transformers?
Only 2 Transformers? Oh, it's got to be Optimus and Megatron.
Yep.
Although, actually, I take that back. I think I would almost prefer to see the Galvatron version.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now I'm going back to the cartoon, not the movie version. Although Cyclonus is awesome. I had a Cyclonus growing up.
Cool.
So, but yeah, we're gonna go Optimus and Megatron.
All right. Well, Chewy, what about you?
Yeah, from DC, I would say that I would like to see Batman. Obviously, I think most people are going to say that just because obviously the way that he could come into a storyline. I would love to see maybe someone like Dante from Devil May Cry. I think he would be a really cool character.
Oh, nice.
His swords and his guns and all that sort of thing. I'd love to see a blaster type character like a Jim Raynor from StarCraft. That'd be pretty sick. You can go into all sort of ludicrous stuff with this. Anything from like a Street Fighter or a Mortal Kombat. So if you had like Scorpion coming into the game, or even like a Ryu, something like that, would be pretty rad. You can make Ryu a brawler. You could make Scorpion like a ranged control type character. because you can have a lot of evades, and obviously you could lock him down with the spear, things like that. Or what was I thinking about before? Optimus Prime was one of the ones I was thinking about, and like his ultimate, he could literally like sort of spin off the map, drive in. Drive in, just basically smash them like as a truck form type thing.
Yeah.
As variants of current characters, I'd love to see Hulkbuster. I really want Iron Man's Hulkbuster. I know he's in Marvel Universe, but I really want that costume kit in there, or even other mech type characters. So I think that, you know, like a Robotech could fit in. A Gundam would be a really cool thing as well.
Yeah.
Deathstroke from the DC universe would be pretty sweet as well. So there's a lot of really cool characters I'd love to see come to this game. This game lacks a lot of really good tanks at the moment. So, you know, getting something like a Solomon Grundy or a Clayface, someone like that would really fit the lack of this sort of game right now. You know, if you had like a Poison Ivy, she'd make a sick healer. Plus, you know, Vine boobs. That's always good. Yeah, I mean, anyone of the Bat family, really. Like Nightwing is an awesome character.
Yeah.
Man, I could go on all day with this. You know, you got the whole Lanterns faction. There's so many cool things you could do with crossovers. You know, if they struck a deal as a gaming company to just like get some sort of, you know, multiverses collide type thing. You know, a story kind of like what they did with the very first Injustice, but it's actually these worlds colliding. Did you guys ever play the Mortal Kombat versus DC games?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't remember playing those.
Yeah, they handled that in a way that was okay, but I really enjoyed them. Did you like it, Hebrew?
Oh, I fucking loved it. I love all fighting games, 100%.
Yeah. When you finish it, Sub-Zero, like his little after story, he basically decides to become like Batman. Like he ends up going back and like becoming just the Caped Crusader version with his frost powers. Actually, no, Sub-Zero. How did I not say him? He's my favorite Mortal Kombat character. He would be great as a controller in this game.
Yeah,
I was always a Raiden fan.
Oh man, Raiden's badass. Yeah, Raiden's super badass.
But he's half Thor, half Storm, so he's kind of redundant in this game right now, right?
Yeah, for me, Scorpion would have to be my number one for Mortal Kombat, but it's, you know, I wouldn't. He's not in my top for people to bring in. So I'll go ahead. Are you finished up with your list?
Oh, I'm sure we can interject as we go through each other's lists for sure, man. So that's my official so far.
So mine is going to end up going a lot more anime based, I'm sure. So I'm not sure if you guys have seen a lot of the stuff I'm about to whip out, but so first would probably be Sage of Six Paths Naruto from Naruto, because that was the most badass thing I've ever seen in my life. Saitama from One Punch Man would definitely be on my roster. Have you guys heard of any of these?
One Punch Man?
Which one is Saitama? Okay, yeah, I've seen One Punch Man.
Okay,
I haven't seen it.
Most amazing anime in the entire world. Hilarious, by the way. You should definitely watch it.
Is there only the one season?
There's only one season, but another one's coming out. And interestingly enough, oh, trust me, I'm getting to Dragon Ball Z, buddy. Don't you worry.
Oh, good God, of course you are.
But for, I believe this is like 98% sure about this. So One Punch Man started on Reddit. There was a guy on Reddit who started this comic book drawing as like a joke, or not a joke, but like to practice his craft, right? And he started going off on this kind of world, and it ended up being picked up by one of the major anime networks, and they ended up turning it into a show whenever he said, I'm not able to do this anymore, you know, so I'm gonna have to quit. And then they were like, no, don't worry, we got you. And then they funded a show and they created it. So that was pretty cool. Second season is releasing in a month, I believe. But yeah, amazing. The whole season went viral. It was insane. Genos, good point. Yeah, that was some of the most amazing anime combat I've ever seen in my life. Genos, they do an incredibly good job with him. But yeah, so next I'll probably have to go with Super Saiyan 4 Goku or Ultra Instinct Goku. Do you guys know any of these other characters?
I know.
Do you guys watch anime at all?
I'm an old school anime. Okay. So you know, Akira, you know, Ghost of the Shell, you know, things of that stuff.
All good stuff, at least. Yeah. All right. Well, the next one. Todoroki from All Might. My Hero Academia. There we go.
Actually, I just started watching that with my daughter.
Dude, oh,
We're only in like episode 2.
Trust me, amazing. Keep watching it. It's
All
one of the
Might
best animes
just
of all time.
basically told him, I grant you my power, and we have not watched another.
Yep, keep watching, buddy, because that's.
We plan on it.
Amazing.
We plan on it. Actually,
so Todoroki and Midoriya from from My Heroes are definitely on there. Ooh.
No Luffy.
Luffy.
Oh,
wait,
you
Luffy,
you don't watch shoot, One Piece.
Oh no, I don't watch One Piece. That's like one of the few that I have not watched, and it's only because I was so far behind whenever I really started getting into anime for that one, and I already started on Naruto. So
it's on Hulu. Like, they've got all the episodes on Hulu.
I've been meaning to watch it because there's a big anime game coming out that I'm gonna go super hard on, and they're in it, so I'm gonna be taking up the mantle for it soon.
Nice.
I'm finishing up Bleach right now, so.
How is that? I have not done that one.
Not nearly as good as Naruto. Naruto is like my heart and soul of anime because I've been attached to that for so long. I love that anime. But anyways, all right. So bringing it back a little bit to DC, I would have to say Green Lantern. I've always really loved the Green Lantern.
No, you can't do that. We've already got Deadpool.
Huh?
You didn't get the round.
That's been undone.
That's been undone in the timeline.
Yeah,
that's done
that's
now.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
No
Ryan Reynolds is dead. He doesn't exist anymore.
All right, yeah. So I guess I can't pick him. He's out. What's the evil Green Lantern? What
Sinestro.
I played him in Injustice.
Sinestro.
Yes,
Sinestro, and then there's the Rage
The other
guy
one.
as well. What's the big red dude?
Yeah, the big red dude is what I'm talking about.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, there's a few Red Lanterns. I can't remember which one they picked in that mode. But yeah, I was playing that for a little while as well.
Yeah. All right. So he would probably be a cool one to bring in. I'm not a huge DC fan, so I really actually, I do not like Batman. I'm probably gonna catch a lot of shit for this, but I do not like Batman at all.
You can bleep that out. We'll let you bleep that out.
Oh, the Flash. Oh, actually, scratch all that. I love the Flash. So the Flash would definitely be in there. I think he's one of the cool superheroes ever. So the Flash, I've watched all of the DC TV show of that.
I'm still catching up on last one. Yeah. Arrow's awesome.
I dipped out on Arrowverse. This has turned into an incredibly long segment, Kane. I appreciate
No, that's exactly what it should be. We're going to
it.
give the patrons their money's worth when they get to this level. Man.
Right.
Oh,
Because,
I'm not
4
cutting it
hours
off.
in, we might as well.
Yeah, I'm not cutting it off. I'm just saying, like, this was an incredibly good topic. Like, good job for picking this one. I'm sorry that it's probably going to go on for a good bit longer, but
I've thought of more.
It's great. Yeah, it's
Me
perfect.
We could each have one after Hebrew. We each want to have one more.
All right,
I've got at least 3.
All right,
All right,
you can
3 more then.
That's fine. But yeah, I think that's. I mean, there's tons of others, obviously, but those are the ones. Gambit is who I want from Marvel more than anything in the world. But but yeah, Flash from DC for sure is my number one, actually. So not number one over everyone, but just number one from DC. I feel like I'm forgetting something. All right, that's it for now. We might jump back to me, but Chewy, why don't you go ahead and name off your episode?
Yeah, so when you mentioned the DC Injustice 2 that you've been playing with the big Red Rage guy, that reminded me that the crossover in there that was really cool. That'd be also great to see in this game is the Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah, they were so
like it'd be sick to
lovely.
get those guys in because you could almost give them their own roles in a game like this, where you can have like one being a tank, one being Dips. Donatello could be like he builds robots that heals people. That'd be a really cool like synergy team. And then have Splinter as like the Nick Fury. Man, why is this not happening? I've just took myself into designing.
Wait. So there's a game like this for the Turtles, but I don't think they've been actively working on it for a couple of years now. There is a clone of like the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes model in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle universe.
Right. Okay. Got you. No, I haven't seen it. I would also love to see Rick with the ability to call in Morty, and I want his ultimate to be Pickle Rick. That just needs to happen.
yes.
Like Pickle Rick with an AoE rampage. Heck
Oh,
yes,
I
man.
fucking love that. Oh, that's an amazing choice. I
Yeah.
can't even think of that.
And the third one is Sterling Archer.
Mm.
You guys haven't seen that show, obviously?
Archer?
No.
Archer, yeah. The show Archer?
No.
Oh no, I don't watch Archer.
I've been.
Oh
I've
my
been
God.
told
Have you
to.
not? All right, both of you. That's it. Sign off now. And that's it. That's happening.
Have you
Yeah,
met
see
me?
the text. See the chat
Why I
exploding
don't
with all the
watch.
people that love
I don't
Archer.
watch.
It's a great show.
I'm not gonna watch that.
Why?
That's not a show that I would watch on my own, and not a show that I would watch with my wife. So yeah,
I have
Spook
been
shindig.
meaning to watch Archer for a while now. I just haven't got around to it.
Yeah, look, when it gets to Vice, it falls off pretty hard, but the first
Mhm.
couple of seasons are ridiculously funny.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take that one up.
Yeah,
So I've been
so
told
that would be
by
my three.
everyone to do it.
With a bit of time spending on them, I think those ones would be a lot of fun, especially Rick and Morty. That'd be great.
Yeah, that's a perfect one. That was a good job. All right, so Dorian, what about you? Got a couple?
I've actually got 3. They're all movie characters. Well, one's actually a DC, but they're all played by the same person. So I want to see Neo from The Matrix.
Oh yeah, okay.
Oh shoot! Now my mind's blanked. Why do you guys got to do this to me? What was it? John Wick. I want to see John Wick.
So basically, Keanu Reeves. You
Basically
want
Keanu Reeves.
You just need Keanu Reeves that can just like shapeshift into the different roles of Keanu Reeves. You need
And then
a Bill and
Constantine.
Ted ability. You need Constantine, yeah. Although I do like the guy that played Constantine in Constantine, the TV series, better.
I thought he did a great job. I was so mad when they canceled that.
Wait,
Yeah, you know he's coming back in Arrow though, right? He's like a
Yeah, I've
regular
seen
character
him.
there, and he's now in what's the time traveling one? Legends.
Legends. See, I
Um,
cut off Netflix, so I'm a little not. I'm not caught up on last season yet.
did
They're
you
not
guys
on
like?
Netflix here? Are they on it
Did you
over
guys
there?
like Constantine the movie? Or no?
I did.
Yeah, I don't think it's the
I
greatest
did.
thing ever, but
Alright,
I
no,
really
but
liked it at the time.
I
I've seen
actually-
it a few times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think that movie got some shit, but I thoroughly
really?
enjoyed it. I thought it was great.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
well, I mean, it has Shia LaBeouf in it, so take that for what it's worth. But
Oh, I forgot he was in it. There you go.
Yeah,
Me too.
Shia LaBeouf,
Sham
Raquel
Wiki.
Weisz, and I think that was Tilda Swinton.
Okay.
No, actually, it
See,
was.
I'd
yeah.
prefer to
That's the
see
angel.
Constantine rather than Harry Potter. I think yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
a great magician choice for sure.
Yeah.
I would. So just name. Are you done with yours that you could think of?
Yes.
All right. Just to come back full circle to me. Before I forget, Tom Kench from League of Legends. That would be an amazing one. I fucking love Tom Kench. He's my boy. I got to unbench the Kench. And then I'd also pick Light from Death Note. And then I'm trying to think of another one. I just had it in my head. God. That's all I can think of for now. So yeah, I think that's good for all of us, probably, right? Unless anyone's
Yeah,
got a
I think
really
that's-
good last one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
But
right.
so to give him one bonus part, out of all the Marvel universe as an obscure guy, who would you love to see just randomly popped into the game?
Out of all the Marvel universe,
Yeah. So to give you a ballpark, I would love to see Agent Coulson with the
Okay.
What's its name gun from the
from the
Thinking for
Avengers
it.
movie,
yeah.
the
I already know
Destroyer
mine.
I think
gun.
that'd be a cool, just out there, random, underrated character.
Mine would definitely be Peter, Sugar Bear.
Oh yeah, nice.
Bring him in. That'd be mine.
I've actually talked about this guy before. I would love to see the Michael Collins version of Deathlock from
Oh, yeah.
'92. He would be just absolutely awesome blaster. He could be a
Yeah.
brawler too. So
He would be a brawler or a blaster, or you?
no, he could be a brawler as well because
Okay.
he's because the Cyborg does a lot. I mean, he's got the plasma gun that he does use, but he does a lot of hand to hand because he's pacifist.
Mhm.
So he doesn't want to kill people.
Kill
so,
people,
yeah. Anyway, I think Deathlock would be awesome.
Yeah. No, I think that would be a pretty good one. I think you're right on that. Yeah, I guess you named yours, right, Chewy? It was Coulson, Agent Coulson.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, then that wraps it up for the patron segment of the week. Kane, thank you. That was obviously an amazing one. We had a lot of fun with that one.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and that's a good point, actually, because he went a little bit off topic. Please understand that if you are someone that's supporting the show financially, obviously we want to give you something that you find entertaining. If you want to go off topic from Strike Force, we are absolutely on board. Obviously, you might have to screen some of your options past Dorian, but if you have an idea that is fun,
depends on
and
who's
is
playing,
not-
Filthy Dorian or regular Dorian.
Well, yeah, that's
And hold on. Even Filthy Dorian is still tame. What I allow out on tame.
Yeah.
I
So
imagine
basically,
Filthy
whatever you
Dorian-
guys want us to talk about, know that we're willing to entertain a lot of those options for patrons at that level. So yeah, please let us know your ideas when we select you next week.
Yeah, I just want to mention I think Filthy Dorian. Whenever I think Filthy Dorian, I think I can't believe that's going to be a name that might be attached to you.
I'm going to Google Filthy Dorian right now to see what comes up. Just let me put my VPN on so I don't get like
terrible
shot.
is going to happen.
Filthy Dorian. Should I actually click images? Let's hang on. One sec. So, Filthy Dorian is apparently the name of a jazz guitarist.
Filthy Dorian. Okay.
And other than that, you get a lot of Dorian Wood come up, who looks to be some sort of a. Actually, we're going to post this in chat right now. So just ignore it and move on. Pretend you're not seeing this as you go on, okay?
All right. So yeah, I think that Filthy Dorian in my mind is Dorian, of course, but he's
We've got to start doing a live Twitch show.
I said ignore it.
You can't ignore that.
That's not ignorable.
Is
that a dude?
I think we just
That's
found
a
our
girl's
Dude,
clothing.
yeah, it's a guy called Dorian Wood who looks like he's part of a band. It looks like it's one of those very folksy sort of out there bands. But the photo, for those of you, if this actually makes the cut, it's basically let's say a relatively large gentleman wearing what only looks to be a bra, perhaps with a split open vest. And then he has a look on his face with jazz hands that he's almost about to reach peak ecstasy. I think that's probably the best way to describe it, boys.
Yeah, I
he's
mean,
got like a
something
spotlight
just
on him.
changed him.
Like,
yeah,
yeah.
He's looking up. Something just changed him.
Yeah,
changed
you know what it
inside.
is?
Yeah.
Just discovered cowboy boots. That's what that look is all about.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's the moment.
I hate
Yeah.
you guys so much.
There's
Right
that. Cowboy boots would look amazing on me.
Yeah.
I so much.
Can I change your logo as director? Because if I can,
Can we? Wait, we're gonna have to work that in there for a day. If we get a new Patreon, we will change his thing for a week.
yeah. Well, we already had a new one during the show. Does that count?
No, it doesn't
Nope.
count. Sorry.
Oh, it's got to reach a certain level at least, though. I mean,
Okay.
it's got to at least be like the $15, $20 level.
And how long would you leave it up if they do?
All right. How about we do it? We rank it by like how many equals how long.
I'm not doing 20
We
days.
workshop
I'm
that
not
in
doing
chat.
20 days. We'll talk
Okay.
about that later.
If that's 20
Let's wrap this
Patreons, I
up,
think
wait.
that's worth it. I think that's worth it. But so if we could do so one Patreon.
That compass arm better be in the damn mail. That's all I'm going to say.
One Patreon equals 1 or 2 days. We'll say that's fair, right?
Maybe. We'll see.
I'm gonna go and say one Patreon equals 2 days.
I'm going to show this one to my wife. This is going to be great.
But yeah, all right. Let's go ahead and move on to arguably the most important thing of the day. That's Dark Dorian right there. Sorry, Chewburger just put out a photo of what looks like a rotund man that is.
I think it's a naked rotund man.
It's Dorian Wood, who I'm now going to be obsessed
the
with
same
for
guy?
20 minutes after this
That's-
podcast.
wait,
It's the same
really?
guy. It's the same guy. Yeah.
Oh my,
This
this
is still
guy
the
is
same Dorian,
versatile. Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
it is a rotund man that has a fully shaven head that looks to be trapped in a net, totally nude, looking at the camera. With what kind of expression would that be? Anger?
That is a D'Onofrio Kingpin crazy look.
Yeah, in a way.
Another version of this that looks like he was out for a swim and like some local fisherman pulled him in during a trawler. It just looks like he's freezing and pissed off.
Yeah, it's actually good. Like, yeah, like he's really mad at. He just found the person that pushed him in to the lake or something. Yeah, and he got caught.
Yeah,
and they just found the guy. Yeah, that's the kind of face that this guy has.
All right, we're not finishing the show anytime today.
Let's go ahead. All right, so now we are on to the arguably the most important segment of the show, which is who are you farming? So, Chewburger, who you farming, buddy?
Really short for me. I was going to finish off my T12 Shield team. As far as character shards were going, I'm very much still going after Kree. I've decided I'm going to have a stab at 6-star next time he comes around. I think I'll miss it this next one. A little bit of Groot and then a little bit of Defenders. But I have a feeling all that may go on hold with this new raid. I've got a feeling I'm going to have to fill a gap with either a Cosmic team or a Defenders team. So being the team player that I am, once I know what we need, I have a feeling it's going to be City. I will fill that role. So that'll be me.
All right. Dorian, what about you?
I'm going to keep working on the Defenders and working on my Arena team, which is basically kind of a modified. It's a Guardian tech with Thanos.
Oh yeah.
So
I remember you told me about that one. It's good.
Yeah, it's a good team. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep working on those guys for now. But I definitely want to. I think the Defenders may take top priority. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
How about you? How about
there
you?
We go.
Oh, there it is.
Oh my! I'm sorry to the audience. We'll probably end up deleting some of this stuff, or not deleting, but editing some of this stuff to make it a little more fluent. But that is quite an amazing picture. If this isn't reason to join the Discord, people, I don't know what is. Come take a look at this stuff.
Yeah.
Because I really can't describe it appropriately. Nothing can describe this.
No, you really can't. No.
This is quite an image right here. This is amazing.
Who are you farming, man?
I am farming right now. I'm farming Cable because I want to get him up to 5 stars in case that is needed for whatever we're about to see with Magneto coming up. Right now he's at 4, like halfway to 5, I think. He's at 4 stars, like halfway to 5. And then I'm farming Jessica Jones because all of my other defenders are at like 6 stars. And so Jessica Jones is sitting at 4 right now. So I'm farming her up just to kind of match. And just finished up my Yondu to 7 stars. So that was exciting. And Captain America. And that pretty much does it for me.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that brings us finally to the end of the show. How long? This one was probably around 4 hours or so, I'm guessing, again.
We started, according to Craig, because I was very curious about this. According to Craig, started the second one right around 10:40.
Okay.
So hopefully
that's 3 hours or so.
Oh my goodness.
That's not so bad. That's
yeah, but guess who got disconnected like 20 minutes into it?
You kidding? Oh
Nope.
yeah.
However, G-Arc is still here.
Oh God, I was on the screen whenever you said that. I was like, no way.
Yeah.
Fuck G-Arc, man of the hour right there.
Fucking Craig, he's off with the iron brew.
Yep.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. Well then, yeah. So we've already reduced it a little bit. We hope to keep bringing it down a little bit more each time. Hopefully, we reach a normal podcast level. But so all right, guys. Thank you guys once again. I'm glad that you guys have made it this far, and I want to give a big thank you to everyone, but especially our Patreons. Thank you for supporting us, and thank you, Creative Name and BMRZ, I believe, were the 2 new Patreons. So I really appreciate you guys for joining in on that. Hopefully we'll get some more so they can join in on this Dorian Discord thing that we're going to be going next week. But so yeah, if you guys enjoyed the episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and follow on whatever medium tickles your fancy. We're on Podbean, Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and pretty much everywhere else that has podcast capabilities. You can find us on our Discord at discord.me/Ravager Report. Did I get that one right?
Yep.
Yep. And then you can find us on our Twitter. We haven't quite done the handle yet, but I will either edit this and add it in afterwards, or you can just search us on Twitter and you'll find us eventually, the Ravager Report.
Right now, we still have the at SFDC podcast, which is the one we'll be transitioning over and renaming. So if you want to follow us right now, you can on at SFDC podcast.
Right. I'm not sure if we'll be moving it over in the next day or two, though. But either way, find us one way or the other. If you really want to, I promise you can find us. And lastly, I think that's pretty much everything. So I guess that leaves just one more thing. Keep fighting, true believers.